McCormick is he's running against Bob Casey, and Bob Casey is about as close to pro-life as you get as a Democrat. He comes from a family that's well respected in Pennsylvania circles. He's the kind of Democrat that appeals to the sort of the center T of Pennsylvania. The joke about Pennsylvania always is it's got Philadelphia in the east, Pittsburgh in the west, and Alabama in the middle.
See, I always hear Kentucky with that joke, but it's the same joke.
But the point is that Casey is the kind of Democrat who has appeal there. On the other hand, McCormick is going to be well funded because he has a deep pocket. McCormick, unlike Mehmet Oz, is not a resident of New Jersey. On the other hand, he is from a long line of Pennsylvania families who has true ties to the state. On the other hand, I don't get it. I don't get how he's running his campaign because McCormick was doing a bus tour of the state, and every night he took his charter plane and flew back to Connecticut. And I thought, why?
I'm gonna live. Yeah, I think he said I'm gonna live on this bus.
Yeah,
a few hours a day. Yeah, probably not a great look. Ohio, sorry. This Trump-endorsed candidate, a businessman, Bernie Moreno. He's challenging Democrat Sherrod Brown. Moreno is also who Democrats wanted to win this primary.
Yes. I mean, the thing is that the challenge that Republicans need to overcome is they've nominated for the presidency and for the Senate in Ohio 2 guys with clear MAGA credentials, Make America Great Again, Trump credentials. They had an option of nominating a non-MAGA guy who was the governor's choice, but they chose not to. And so the question is, when you got 2 MAGA candidates, on the one hand, you're going to really drive up the MAGA vote. And that's important. And that's why Donald Trump won the White House in 2016. It's why he came so close in 2020, because he drove turnout from a lot of people, when a lot of people didn't expect him to. And he is magic in that way. On the other hand, you have a lot of the sort of non-MAGA guys, and they represent about 1/3 of the party, and they're not totally happy with the direction of the party is going in. And so I think that represents a challenge for the Republicans in Ohio. The second challenge you have in Ohio is everyone agrees that Donald Trump is going to win Ohio over Joe Biden. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, Biden has a lot of money. A lot compared to Trump right now. And they're going to pick a state, and I suspect it's going to be Ohio, where they just force Trump to spend time and spend money. Mm-hmm. I think that's going to be Ohio. I think that's going to help Sherrod Brown. On the other hand, it's a tough race for Sherrod Brown.
That's interesting. So the Biden campaign wants to try to essentially waste as much of Trump's time as they can.
Yeah.
In a state that he's probably going to win anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, and who knows? I mean, how things could change.
Michigan, open seat. First time in a while, years that the seat's been open. Democrat Debbie Stabenow is leaving. Primary is not till August. We know a lot about the race so far.
Well, I mean, I think the primary is not in August, but we know that Alyssa Slotkin is probably going to be the Democratic nominee. We don't know who the Republican nominee is going to be, but there are a number of former congressmen with very clear sort of non-MAGA credentials, people like Peter Mayer or Jordan Amash. And that's going to be, I mean, I think everyone thinks this is a lean Democratic seat, that Alyssa Slotkin should win it. On the other hand, Michigan is ground zero, if you will, for the challenges that the Democrats have over Biden's support or for Israel and the Israel-Gaza war. You have a large Arab community. And so it's possible that could hurt Alyssa Slotkin because historically the Arab vote, it's about 1%, but historically it's been pro-Democratic. And if they lose that, that could be the difference in victory and defeat.
Arizona, this is Kirsten Sinema's seat. She's leaving, technically an independent, but another potential pickup, let's call it, for the Republicans. Kari Lake's in that primary. She lost her race for governor in 2022, says it was stolen. Now she's trying to win a Senate seat instead.
I mean, let's put it this way. Kirsten Sinema was the perfect candidate for Arizona. She is a moderate Democrat, or a moderate. She was planning to run as an independent. The Democrats are probably nominating Ruben Gallego, who is a progressive Democrat. Actually not the right kind of Democrat for Arizona, because he's really probably too progressive. On the other hand, it looks likely that the Republicans are nominating Kari Lake, who's actually not the right kind of Republican for Arizona because she's too MAGA.
Right.
And she does not hide her MAGA cred. And so, in a sense, neither party is nominating the perfect candidate, and the question is going to be which party is nominating the weaker candidate. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Texas, you say that race might be interesting. Ted Cruz is trying to keep his job. A lot of people like Ted Cruz. A lot of people don't like Ted Cruz.
This is a state where, a lot of people don't like Ted Cruz, but Ted Cruz does have MAGA cred. He's made some mistakes. And he had that problem with his vacation in Cancun in the midst of a horrible storm in Texas. On the other hand, he has real MAGA cred, and I think that's going to be really helpful in terms of driving turnout in the Hill area of Texas. Also, Texas is sort of ground zero for where Hispanics are sort of losing interest in the Democrats and moving away. And so that's really helpful to Ted Cruz. On the other hand, the Democrats have nominated a really solid candidate, former NFL player, congressman, and Allred, and he, he's an impressive guy. So you can see a scenario where Ted Cruz gets the scare of his life again, which is what happened last time. I don't see a scenario where he definitely necessarily loses, but I do see a scenario where the race becomes interesting. And it's also really dependent on what happens in the presidential race in terms of Trump. Because, Texas is going to go for Trump, but Texas is not going to go for Trump as strongly as it ought to.
Got it. And Colin Allred's obviously going to be sucking in money from outside as much as possible.
Yeah, Cruz is a wonderful way for a Democrat to raise money. I'm running against Ted Cruz. Oh, I don't care what your name is. All right.
Just how about the House? Conventional wisdom that the Republicans probably win it back. Just the numbers. Am I wrong? Or are you against convention, or are you just going against the grain here?
Well, no. I think the conventional wisdom is going to be a close House race because there's so few seats that are really up for grabs. On the other hand, the challenge, if it's a nationalized race, the challenge is that the Republicans, you control the House now. What have you done for me? What you've done for me is that given me some entertainment in terms of like getting rid of one speaker, threatening another speaker, almost shutting down the government, but not going all the way. So nationally, the Republicans, I think, have a challenge to explain what it is they've done in charge of the House. But when you look race by race, the problem is there's so few competitive seats. The way the map has been drawn, it's not clear how either side doesn't make a race out of it.
Donald Trump, obviously, in the polls is very close to or ahead of President Biden. Is his support just the same supporters he always had, or is he picking people up along the way?
What I've seen is that basically people who support Donald Trump. And it doesn't matter who you put up against them. They're always voting for Donald Trump. That's what we saw in the Republican primaries. I think it's not clear that Donald Trump is picking up support, and that's a challenge for him. On the other hand, Joe Biden is going to gaffe at some point between now and then, and that's not going to be helpful to Joe Biden, and that could be helpful to Donald Trump. And on the other hand, we have a lot of these situations in the world on the presidential level, and by situations in the world, I mean particularly what's going on in Israel and Gaza, what's going on in Ukraine and Europe. And Joe Biden is either going to be, and his fingerprints are all over those things. And so he's either going to be seen as having been successful or as having been crotchety and elderly. And I think that's what's going to decide this election more than Donald Trump and whether or not Biden actually gets the non-Trump vote or not.
Because Trump's people are ride or die. He's going to get what he gets. And so the election is, in a way, Biden's to win or lose.
Precisely, yes.
Arne in Michigan, Fox News Decision Desk Director. Arne, thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
Attention business owners, stop throwing your hard-earned money away on rent. Imagine owning your own building and saving thousands every year. Sound impossible? Not if you use General Steel. General Steel can help you save thousands by owning your own custom-designed building. Call 1-866-74-STEEL. That's 1-866-74-STEEL to see how much money you can save with General Steel. Our buildings come with a 50-year warranty, and thousands of companies from Fortune 500 corporations to startups have trusted the General with their building needs.
If you need to expand or start a new business, you really need General Steel.
I'm very impressed with General Steel. Everyone's been extremely helpful. I'd recommend General Steel to anyone looking to build a steel building.
Call 1-866-74-STEEL to find out how quickly your business can move into one of our quick construction kits, like a 50 by 100 perfect for the small business owner, or a 200 by 450 favorite of the Fortune 500. Just call 1-866-74-STEEL. That's 1-866-74-STEEL.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Monday is April 1st, and this Monday, The Vic Porcelli Show has a new executive producer. So join The Vic Porcelli Show this Monday, April 1st, starting at 9:05.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Do you have a house that you've been thinking about selling, but maybe it needs a lot of work and you want to sell it in as-is condition? 314-417-1000. My name's Chad with Clayman Real Estate, where we've had a family business for over 90 years, and we buy houses direct from the seller with no middleman involved. 314-417-1000. We recently just bought a house from a nice person who had been in her house for over 30 years. Quite frankly, she wasn't excited about letting a bunch of people in the house, and she wasn't as proud of the house as she once was, and she was ready to sell. We came in and we made her an as-is offer with no repairs and no agency involved. It was just a one-time walkthrough. If you're in that situation and you have a house that you're thinking about selling in as-is condition and want a simple solution, reach out. 314-417-1000. 314-417-1000. Reach out to Clayman Real Estate today, and we will provide you with an as-is, simple solution to your real estate issue.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue, and after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions, and they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
Southern Armory, your hometown gun store. Come and be more than just a customer. Southern Armory, we carry the best guns, holsters, knives, magazines, ammunition, and even food storage. Special orders are welcome. Southern Armory, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, 9901 Watson Road, and southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Whether you're purchasing your first firearm or adding to your collection at Southern Armory, you're more than a customer, you're part of the family. Follow Southern Armory on Facebook or at southernarmory.com.
Agree
I think conservatives have it wrong.
or disagree.
I couldn't agree with you more.
The conversation happens here.
I agree with you on Trump.
I'm shaking my head.
I'm one of your liberal Democratic listeners, and I don't get why any of this even matters.
Because your voice matters.
Everybody told him he couldn't do it, and then he did do it.
That's what you got to do. You got to play hardball.
So I want to hear what people think and be able to talk about it.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Truth. Stop the car! Buckle up, America.
Crime Cam 24/7 returns. New episode Friday on Fox Nation. Sign up at foxnation.com. All part of Fox Justice on Fox Nation. Sign up and get your first year of Fox Nation for $29.99.
America is streaming.
Now, a look at what's happening from the Fox News Rundown.
The
morning. It's Monday, April 1st. This is the Fox News Rundown. I'm Sue Guzman. Thousands of Israeli citizens taking to the streets for a three-day protest to call for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas and for the resignation of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv, Israel, with more.
These protesters clashed with police and lit fires in the roads. The event illustrates the ongoing tension across Israel and the mix between politics and war. Inside Gaza, it's day 177 of the conflict. Israeli troops continue to operate in both northern and central Gaza. Today, the Israeli Air Force launched a strike against the Al-Aqsa hospital in the central city of Deir al-Balah. The Israeli military says they were striking a command center for Islamic Jihad. Observers on the ground said that a tent filled with journalists was hit in the strike. There's still continued activity along Israel's northern border. More rocket fire from the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah today, and a report of a targeted assassination conducted by the Israelis in southern Lebanon.
Cleanup efforts continuing in Baltimore following the bridge collapse from last week. Fox's John Scott with details about that.
Crews in Baltimore working hard this Easter holiday to remove thousands of tons of debris from the collapsed Francis Scott Key Bridge. Dive teams were in the river surveying parts of the bridge. They also checked over the massive cargo ship that rammed into it last week. Meanwhile, crews above the water continue to cut the bridge into pieces for removal. It could take weeks of cleanup to get the Port of Baltimore back open.
President Biden and the First Lady are welcoming thousands of people to the White House today. Fox's Jill Nato has a look at the White House week ahead.
Some 40,000 people are expected for what the White House says will be their biggest Easter egg roll ever today. They'll be coming to the White House grounds in 9 separate groups. Kids of all ages will be able to see costumed characters like Winnie the Pooh and Snoopy. They've got a reading nook, live music, what they're calling a field trip to the farm, a snack time tent, and of course, children rolling eggs along the grass. On Wednesday, the president speaks on lowering health care costs. For Thursday, a reception celebrating Greek Independence Day. And on Friday, the president heads to his home state of Delaware for the weekend.
Convicted killer Alec Murdaugh preparing to be sentenced for multiple financial crimes this week. Fox's Madison Scarpino reports.
These 22 charges are for federal financial crimes, and now prosecutors want out of a plea deal that they say Murdaugh violated. The deal would have let him serve his federal sentence at the same time as his 27-year state sentence for similar crimes. But prosecutors say a lie detector test showed Murdaugh wasn't telling the truth about what happened to $6 million of the money he stole from clients and his law firm, and whether a fellow attorney helped him steal it. The polygraph was a crucial part of the plea deal.
And the 11th annual iHeartRadio Music Awards are being handed out tonight in Los Angeles. We have a preview from Fox's Tanya J. Powers.
Taylor Swift leads the iHeartRadio Music Award nominations with 9, including Artist of the Year and Song of the Year, followed by Jelly Roll, SZA, and 21 Savage, who have 8, and Olivia Rodrigo with 7.
Whatever, it's fine.
Ludacris is taking on double duty as both show host and performer. Cher will be honored with the Icon Award, while Beyonce will receive the Innovator Award. She's up for 5 awards, including R&B Artist of the Year. The iHeart Music Awards air live at 8 o'clock Eastern tonight on Fox. You can hear them on iHeart radio stations across the U.S. and streaming on the iHeartRadio app.
I'm Sue Guzman on the Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
What new chaos and crises did Joe Biden start over the weekend? We'll discuss at 425 with former U.S. Senator Jim Talent. Red State Headlines at 525 with Susie Moore.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Seavers JCB has amazing deals on JCB mini excavators ranging from 2 tons to 10 tons. It's your choice to take 5 on one of these great offers. 0% financing for 5 years or up to $5,500 cash rebate and a 5-year warranty. See terms and conditions for details, but don't wait too long. These offers are for a limited time at Seavers JCB. And check out their full line of industry-leading JCB equipment. Check them out online at seaversjcb.com.
Man, what a great party you're throwing here. This wasp nest is great.
Yeah, man, we got about 70 wasps in here.
Too bad we can't fit any more wasps in here. It looks like they're having fun outside, stinging all the kids. Oh, man, who just pulled up?
Oh, no, it's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They seem to kill every one of my parties.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Springtime in St. Louis means one thing. That's right, golf is back, baby. Whether you're a beginner or a scratch golfer, you're sure to enjoy your golf experience at Sugar Creek Golf Course. Sugar Creek is a scenic and challenging course and well-suited to golfers of all abilities. Located in High Ridge, just 10 minutes from 270 and Gravois. At Sugar Creek Golf Course, our courteous and professional staff has one goal: to make sure your golf experience is enjoyable. To book your tee time or to learn more about the special event and banquet facilities, simply visit sugarcreekgolfcourse.com.
Tony Colombo here for Cadre Asset Management. A cadre is defined as a small group of people specially trained for a particular purpose or profession, and that is the role that Cadre Asset Management can play in your financial journey. Learn more about how they can help secure your financial future by following Cadre Asset Management on Facebook, or just go to cadreassetmgmt.com.
Cadre Asset Management is a Missouri-based independent advisory firm licensed under and securities and investment advisory services offered through Founders Financial Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
The O'Reilly Update, brought to you by Seavers JCB. Visit them at their St. Peter's location.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. If you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, listen up. Car Shield is a low-cost monthly vehicle protection plan now available to you. This protection plan is at an all-time low price. Please call 800-925-7584 for a free quote. Drivers who activate today will also receive free roadside assistance and towing at no additional cost. That is 800-925-7584 right now. On this Monday, we have legitimized extremism in America. Now, it's always been here. The Ku Klux Klan had to be beaten down by federal forces. U.S. Grant was behind that. But now, because of cyberspace, because of the devices, because of irresponsible companies, we have extremism being disguised as normalcy. If you go on the internet websites, you can find the most vile, hateful stuff in the world. And some Americans, don't ask me why, believe this stuff. But even in the mainstream media, the corporate media, we have hateful things on display every day. Now, MSNBC is the best example of this. That is owned by Comcast, which owns NBC News, and NBC News produces MSNBC. If you watch that channel, you will get a steady stream of America is evil. The United States has always been bigoted. Blacks don't have a chance. Minorities don't have a chance. White patriarchy is ruining our country. Day in, day out, nonstop. What are you doing, NBC? Right back. You can now watch new episodes of the No Spin News live on Samsung TV Plus. Tune in each weeknight at 8 p.m. on the First TV for breaking news, honest analysis, and the best election coverage in America. Please join me, Bill O'Reilly, at the First TV, now available on Samsung TV Plus. Start watching today on your Samsung television, Galaxy devices, or the Samsung TV Plus mobile app. Check out the No Spin News each weeknight at 8 p.m. on the First TV, Samsung TV Plus. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert meteorologist Leah Hill. A warm and humid afternoon, temperatures in the upper 70s, and we're also watching for rain and storms. Today is a First Alert weather day, tracking really 2 rounds. The first round in the afternoon, a bit more isolated, those storms, but any severe storms could be capable of producing large hail. And then with the later round of storms, it's a line of showers and thunderstorms that passes through the area that has potential to be strong or severe. Watch for all types of severe weather. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
When it's important to you, a political crisis, escalating violence, unrest, this has created an untenable situation for the Haitian people. It's on News Talk STL.
Joe Biden broke the law, but because he's a forgetful old man who would appear sympathetic to a jury, Mr. Hur chose not to bring charges.
News, analysis, opinion.
These court decisions have really tied cities' hands, and they've frozen in place the status quo.
Number 1 for live and local conservative talk. 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Let's get the day started right. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, here we are. It is April. Of course, April Fool's Day. Got to tell you, I'm not a real big fan of like April Fool's jokes or anything like that, or pranks or anything. Let's just say that we talk a lot about politicians and some voters, so that's enough of an April Fool's Day for us. Speaking of which, let's talk about the Missouri legislature a little bit later on. We are kind of closing in on the last couple of months of the legislative session. There is a chance they can actually get some big conservative stuff done. Will they? I don't know, but we'll have an update for you just a little bit later on. Hey, good morning, Mike Ferguson. Hope you had a great Easter weekend. On Friday, we had a chance to visit with Will Scharf. He's a key part, to be really honest, of Donald Trump's legal team. And, of course, he's running for Attorney General as well. But he had a lot to say regarding that gag order that was put on Donald Trump last week in connection with the so-called hush money case with the payments that were made to Stormy Daniels. And he joined us on the program to kind of give us his take and why it's not just about that case, why he thinks that all voters should be taking note of how that case is unfolding. Here's what he had to say.
It's hard to, and I'm truly not trying to be funny, but with all of the different cases right now, sometimes people really actually lose track of what's happening in each different one. Now, this gag order that was put on the former president that you all are obviously going to be responding to, this is in New York, and this has to do with the case with the money for Stormy Daniels. That's the one we're talking about here, right?
That's correct. This is the case brought by radical leftist DA Alvin Bragg in New York. It's a business records case. A lot of people have said it's the weakest legally and factually of all the cases. I have to be a little careful about what I say because I'm actually subject to the gag order, which is immensely frustrating. But we've seen this time and time again in these Trump cases. You have judges who try to put these unconstitutional gag orders on us. We challenged one in D.C. and got it stripped to the bone by the D.C. Circuit last year, and we're obviously going to be challenging this. But we go to trial on April 15th, so there's not much time here to get this thing reworked before we're really in the mix.
Okay, so Will, then without necessarily asking about this specific thing, explain something to us lay people out here. There are times where gag orders can be appropriate. When would what would be an example of when that would be a good idea? And then you've already said you're challenging this one. I mean, are you able to say why you disagree without violating the gag order?
So in the history of the United States, no candidate for public office who has also been facing a criminal trial has had a gag order like these gag orders placed on them. In the history of the United States, the courts have typically recognized that the defendant's First Amendment interest, both in defending themselves publicly and also in being able to run unimpeded for office, overrules any concern about maintaining the normal procedure of trial. Again, we litigated that case in D.C. This was over the D.C. prosecution. We litigated a similar gag order and won. We challenged a gag order in the New York civil case that Judge Arthur Ngoran placed against us. This is just the latest in a long string of efforts by the judges sitting over President Trump's cases to stop him from speaking publicly about how outrageous what they're trying to do to him with this campaign of lawfare is. President Trump has said that he believes that the whole point of all these cases is election interference, that none of them would have been brought if he weren't running for president. And this rush by his prosecutors and some of these judges to gag his speech, to prevent him from exercising his First Amendment rights, I think is some of the strongest evidence that this really is just about election interference.
Good morning, Will. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So just to remind us, hopefully this doesn't go against the gag order. Just remind us about this case. What is it actually about? Because a lot of people want to make hay about the whole Stormy Daniels things, but you mentioned this was a bookkeeping issue essentially case. What does that mean?
So in 2017, President Trump made a number of payments to a lawyer of his. Those payments were recorded in President Trump's business records as legal retainer payments. What the indictment alleges is that those payments were actually paying back his lawyer, Michael Cohen, for payments that Cohen had made to Stormy Daniels, and that therefore they should have been recorded as election expenses as opposed to legal retainer. Now, that's a case that the Biden Department of Justice looked at, and even they declined to prosecute it. It's a case that the FEC, the Federal Election Commission, looked at and declined to take any action on. This is an extraordinarily weak case, and I think it's shameful that it was brought in the first place. But that's what we're talking about. It's recordings that President Trump made in his business records about the nature of payments that were being made to one of his lawyers. And Alvin Bragg has, under New York law, attempted to claim that constitutes, dozens of felony offenses.
Good morning, Will. Stel Ponticus here. I watched a lengthy interview with defense attorney Alina Habba yesterday. Did I pronounce her name right, by the way?
Alina's a good friend. She's fiery.
She described the lawfare that's going on with these court cases, and she stressed the bias that's evident from the judges regarding evidence that they won't allow in court. Could you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this time and time again. Judges have the ability to control what evidence comes in and what evidence doesn't come in at trial. In this New York case, we've had some judgments go against us in pretrial motions about what we're going to be allowed to introduce into evidence. And meanwhile, we've sought to exclude evidence that we believe is essentially irrelevant to these cases, that it doesn't actually speak to the key issues, but could inflame the jury. And these are the sorts of orange man bad type evidentiary presentations that we've seen over and over again. So it's been a problem for us. In front of Judge Arthur Ngoran in that civil case in New York, there was a ton of stuff that was brought in that probably should have been excluded. And likewise, we weren't able to mount defenses that we believe we should have been able to. In this upcoming New York case, the trial starts April 15th. Much the same dynamic, although, we've got a great team up there led by some really great lawyers. I think the facts are on our side. I think the law is on our side. And we're still hopeful, even in front of the New York jury, of getting a good result there.
Okay, so I want to ask a little bit about the Attorney General's race coming up here in the last couple minutes. We're visiting with Will Scharf, who's part of Donald Trump's legal team. But you said that the trial starting on April 15th. What's the status of challenging the gag order? Is that something that there will be a hearing on before that, or will that all be settled when the trial itself starts?
We're looking at our options now. We'd have to appeal up through the New York courts on that. And we're looking at our options there now, but we're definitely going to be challenging that vigorously just because of how unconstitutional and unfair it is.
Okay.
So that's kind of the next big thing, and I'll be up in New York helping the trial team out in advance of that trial. And again, we're excited to get going.
Okay, so you want to go from being Donald Trump's lawyer to Missouri's lawyer. basically running for attorney general here. Now, a lot of different cases we can ask about, because Andrew Bailey obviously in that job right now. What is it that you think that you're going to bring to that office? For instance, Andrew Bailey saying he's going to file a lawsuit over the Biden student loan cancellations, along with other red states, something that probably a lot of Republican attorneys general would do. But what would be your approach to the office that would be different and better than what we have right now?
Yeah, first of all, I think, under Bailey, they've been running an outstanding press operation and a lousy legal operation. They keep throwing cases. They keep losing cases. It's beginning to be a real problem. And you have to kind of look past the noise and look at the actual results they're getting. To me, the key contrast in the race, though, is that Andrew Bailey's a career Jefferson City guy. I think we have a real problem in this state with Republicans who don't govern like Republicans, with special interest and lobbyist capture of Jefferson City. I think it's time that we brought people in from outside of that Jefferson City bubble to really put this state on a more positive path for the future. I think that just continuing to empower this narrow Jefferson City set when they've been running this state into the ground for 40 years now, it's insanity. So I think we need fresh voices in government. I think that our campaign presents an opportunity to do that. Jefferson City is a real problem. In the last 5 years, we've seen our state budget doubled. Our cities are overrun with crime. Our schools are failing really just in a terrible, terrible way. There's no one who's holding the bureaucracy in Jefferson City accountable. There's nobody who's holding state and local bureaucrats all over the state accountable. That's really what we want to do with the AG's office, is bring a more positive, we the people approach to government, as opposed to just letting these insiders and special interests run rampant like they always have.
Okay, I don't have time to ask about all of those things, but let me ask you about the crime, particularly since in St. Louis that's such a massive issue. Should the Attorney General have more jurisdiction to file or prosecute in cases, particularly in St. Louis, that it's not allowed to do right now? I mean, should there be a bigger role for the Attorney General in Kansas City and St. Louis, and unfortunately places like Columbia right now that are seeing spikes in crime?
Yeah, well, it's Columbia. It's rural areas now increasingly. Obviously, down in Springfield, they have a massive crime problem. I think you need a system, likely concurrent jurisdiction for the AG's office. You need a system where if local prosecutors are failing to prosecute crime, someone else can step in. Our legislature had an opportunity to do that a couple of years ago. They failed. I think we also need much tougher bail and pretrial detention laws. I think we need truth in sentencing laws. Those are bills that I'm going to be aggressive about pushing through the legislature as soon as we get into office. At the end of the day, right now, we're not adequately deterring crime. Criminals go unpunished, and that's why we're seeing these spikes in crime. If criminals know they can get away with it, they're going to keep doing it. We need to flip that script and start really punishing people who are driving this insane situation we see in our cities in particular.
All right, and the website, people want to learn more about your campaign. How do they do it?
VoteScharf.com, VoteScharf.com, and you can find us on social media at Will Scharf.
Okay, your first morning news dump of April comes your way here in about 2 minutes and 24 seconds, right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
The far left wants to destroy conservative values in America.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home.
There's a battle right now in our schools, and I'm ready to fight for our children's education. I'm Adriana Kuhn, and I'm running for the Francis Howell School Board. Our schools are being injected with gender ideology, critical race theory, and advanced classes have been removed for the sake of equity. My opponents are endorsed by organizations that push these agendas on our youth. I vow to keep radical ideologies out of our schools. Vote for Adriana Kuhn April 2nd so I can make a difference in your child's life. Paid for by Friends of Adriana Kuhn, Kevin Pelkey, Treasurer.
Looking for a cruise vacation? Cruise.com is offering its exclusive Sale of the Year to all listeners to this station. Every major cruise line, including Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Princess, MSC, and more, are on sale now. Call 1-800-507-9264 and book one of these deals while supplies last. Cruises start from as low as $39 per person per day. There isn't a better vacation value to places like Alaska, Europe, the Caribbean, South America, and more. Call one of the largest cruise specialists in the world at 1-800-507-9264. We'll find you a vacation that includes drinks, Wi-Fi, excursions, and more. Call 1-800-507-9264. That's 1-800-507-9264. Space is limited. Don't miss your opportunity to book the best deal of the year. That's 1-800-507-9264. Sponsored by Cruise.com.
Hey, thank you very much for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Yes, I just want you to know what a breath of fresh air you people are.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Mike Ferguson in the morning with Gabe and Stell and, Mike. Always informative and entertaining. And don't forget my show, Larry Connors USA, 6 to 8 p.m.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks, the Morning News Dump.
All right, the Republican majority in the U.S. House is almost gone. So, sure, why not have more infighting?
You know, it feels like the House of Commons in England.
It does. Yeah. Somebody say something, it's like, ah! All right, also, which holiday did you celebrate yesterday?
The Christian one.
Oh, okay, because Christians and leftists have very different views on that.
I heard about that,
Oh,
yes.
my gosh, this is crazy. And I saw a pattern. So a little bit later on today, I noticed a pattern on that, and I want to talk about that.
Okay.
All right, I know you're going to be shocked to hear this, but the Cardinals bullpen blew a game.
I am shocked.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, calm down. All right. All right, it is 7:52. I'm Mike Ferguson. That's Estelle Ponticus. Is your first morning news dump of the day. Okay, Maryland Governor Wes Moore says the conditions remain unsafe for divers. Of course, now following that collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge last week. It says weather is a factor, but also debris from the wreckage and I guess a lot of instability under the water. Officials say 13 of the 56 containers with hazardous materials on the Dolly ship were destroyed. That's reassuring. Oh, geez. Governor Moore was on Fox News Sunday to describe the current recovery efforts.
This is a remarkably complex operation. We know this is going to be a long road to recovery, but we know that we have to move with safety and we have to move with speed in order to get our commercial engine going again.
Okay, so 8 construction workers were sent into the water when the bridge collapsed. 2 bodies have been recovered. 4 are obviously presumed dead, but they don't really know where they are. 2 of them were rescued shortly after the collapse, which even a week later, that's amazing and just miraculous to me that anybody survived falling 185 feet into the river in the middle of the night.
Yeah, it was very not only disconcerting, but I saw a video over the weekend of someone offshore having an actual look at the bridge as it's coming down, and the person was totally shocked because he said, I drive this bridge every day.
Yeah.
And he was totally shocked.
How would you process that in your brain if you see it in person? You would be numb.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
All right. Wisconsin Congressman Republican Mike Gallagher is leaving Congress this month in just not quite 3 weeks, just over 2 weeks on April 19th. That's going to shrink the GOP majority in the House to 217 seats, which basically means the Republicans can afford to lose essentially one vote on each thing that's partisan. House Speaker Mike Johnson on Fox's Sunday Night America with Trey Gowdy, he is saying, hey, Republicans, time to sort of band together as Republicans.
We have to stand together because when we do that, especially with a razor-thin majority as we have, we'll have better negotiation in the back room. We'll be able to have greater standing when we argue with the Democrats about it.
Okay, so that's a good point, but I think there's also pressure on you need to be principled as well. We'll see where that goes. Basically, Mike Johnson's in a no-win situation at this point. All right, a Missouri lawmaker is sponsoring a bill that would allow police anywhere in the state to stop, inspect, and detain drivers just to see if their temporary tags are legitimate. Yeah, Republican Brad Pollitt says the state's losing tens of millions of dollars a year in sales and property taxes because people aren't completing the registration process after buying a car. Now, he admits part of his bill likely violates the Fourth Amendment, so he says he's going to amend it soon. I don't care about the state losing millions of dollars in tax. They've got a bigger budget now than they have ever had. That is just not my worry. All right, the Biden administration's push for electric vehicles has hit a few speed bumps.
More than 2 years after President Biden signed the infrastructure bill into law, only 4 states have opened public EV charging stations funded by the legislation. The president has set a goal of creating a national network of 500,000 chargers by the end of the decade. Right now, 175,000 are available. Meanwhile, Ford Motor Company will drastically cut the number of hourly workers at its factory that builds the Ford F-150 Lightning as sales of EVs slow. Greg Clugston, Washington.
By the way, the legislation doesn't fund those public charging stations. We fund those public charging stations.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of having 500,000, and they're at 130-some thousand or whatever Greg said. Okay, so actually over the course of 5 years or whatever they want, that's actually fairly close to being on schedule, but nobody's using them.
No. And if you can call it 20% being on schedule, okay, yeah, I can understand.
Well,
that.
yeah, but if you're looking like per year, of course
Yeah.
they're gonna. It's one of those. If they build it, they will come, and the market is saying no, we won't.
No.
And this is what happens when you are against a free market mindset. We're going to force you to do it, and then wonder why everything falls to pieces.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the Blues host the Oilers tonight at Enterprise. The puck drops at 8 p.m. Blues are not technically eliminated from the playoffs at this point, but it is not looking good still. Not looking good at all. They're going to need to make up at least an 8-point deficit in the standings over the next 8 games to clinch that wild card spot. I don't see that happening.
That'll be tough.
Yeah, everything's going to have to go right for the Blues. But
Yeah.
with 8 games left, they're still mathematically in the picture, so hats off to them for that. All right, the Cardinals blew a 4-2 lead in the 8th inning, giving up 2 home runs. They end up losing to the Dodgers 5-4 in L.A. last night. Now, because of Saturday's win, at least the Cardinals avoided a sweep. So they're 1-3 on the season so far. Redbirds' season-opening West Coast trip continues tonight. They play the San Diego Padres. First pitch, this is the late one for MLB. This is first pitch at 8:40. You can watch that game on Bally. Kind of disconcerting watching those back-to-back home runs going, oh, come on. Is this not going to be a rerun of last year?
And they were back-to-back, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
When you've got something to say, be heard loud and clear.
If they'll just do what they were voted in to do.
This party needs to get a backbone. They need to get some spine.
Join the conversation.
St. Louis's place to talk.
The Democrats and the Republicans can give us all the lip service they want, but what they need to do is take action today.
101.9 and 94.1.
You have to take a stand sometimes.
This is News Talk STL.
News, analysis, and opinion.
To all our incredible supporters, we at the David Dorn Foundation say thank you. Your 5-star online reviews that you recently posted are beacons of encouragement on our mission to assist first responders. And a shout out to Steve Katraba, who reviewed us with these powerful words. The Dorn Foundation continues to fill a need in the public safety community and thereby to the public. Steve, your words are more than a review. They show the impact we're making for first responders. To read more strong reviews, Google the Dorn Foundation now.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Former President Trump says it's another example of the lack of respect foreign leaders afford President Biden. Mr. Trump pointing to the Mexican president's demand for $20 billion a year in U.S. taxpayer money for Latin America and the Caribbean, ostensibly to address the root causes of illegal immigration. Recovery from the disastrous collapse of Baltimore's Key Bridge is proceeding on multiple tracks, according to Maryland Governor Wes Moore, who says that while the cleanup is underway, so too is a search for answers.
There needs to be an ongoing investigation as to what happened. I want that investigation to be speedy, and for anyone who needs to be held accountable to be held accountable. And at the same time, we have got to get this channel opened. We have got to get commerce flowing again, and we have got to rebuild the Francis Scott Key Bridge.
The governor on Fox News Sunday.
As crews work to clear the wreckage from a Baltimore bridge collapse, authorities report another bridge accident this weekend in Oklahoma. Police say a barge on the Arkansas River south of Sallisaw, Oklahoma, struck a highway bridge on U.S. Highway 59. Traffic was halted for several hours as inspectors checked for possible damage.
Correspondent Jackie Quinn says the bridge was declared safe. Traffic resumed. No one was hurt. Traffic moving only intermittently after a stretch of California's scenic Highway 1 collapsed during an Easter weekend storm, forcing closures, stranding motorists near Big Sur. After 2 weeks, Israel's military has withdrawn from Gaza's largest hospital, saying 200 terrorists were killed, hundreds more detained. The IDF says senior Hamas operatives are among the dead, while many weapons and valuable intelligence were seized. Watching Wall Street, stock futures higher so far this morning. The Dow futures are up 112 points. NASDAQ futures 100 points higher. The S&P futures are up 20 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert meteorologist Leah Hill. A warm and humid afternoon, temperatures in the upper 70s, and we're also watching for rain and storms. Today is a First Alert weather day, tracking really 2 rounds. The first round in the afternoon, a bit more isolated, those storms, but any severe storms could be capable of producing large hail. And then with the later round of storms, it's a line of showers and thunderstorms that passes through the area that has potential to be strong or severe. Watch for all types of severe weather. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
My friend, death is certain. Are you prepared? Larry Connors here. I don't want to scare you, but your funeral plans are an important conversation you need to have with your spouse, family, other loved ones. My friend Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial can help find you an affordable, final expense life insurance policy, regardless of your health condition. You could qualify up to $30,000 of lifetime coverage. Life insurance plans with Senior Memorial also offer living benefits towards hearing and diabetic supplies, access to a 24-hour teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones. Call my friend Benjamin at Senior Memorial and discover your legacy at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
Number one for live and local conservative talk.
We don't know how far Russia's influence goes.
101.9 and 94.1.
No one wants a rematch of the 2020 election.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
I am a young, vibrant man.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I'm Batman.
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up! Get up!
We can't rebuild our economy and meet this climate crisis.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Good morning to the people of St. Louis.
All right, Sunday was the most holy day of the year for both Christians and apparently for those who hate Christians.
Yeah, I did
Apparently
notice that.
so, yeah.
I did notice.
Oh, man. All right. By the way, happy Don't Believe Anything You See on Social Media Day.
Oh, boy. That's another one.
That's what we can call it today.
You know what it is? It's a return of Mr. T, because you're going to see that one everywhere where it's April's Fool.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
the
Got
one
it.
where
It's
he's
April, fool. You got to say it right.
Nice.
Fool.
Okay. Oh, my goodness. All
See,
right.
I didn't watch the A-Team that much. So.
I loved the A-Team.
Oh, it was so 80s.
I
Quintessential 80s.
Absolutely love the A-Team.
Mhm.
I love the, let's see here, the A-Team, and then what was there was another one. Riptide was another one,
Okay.
which
All right.
I got to watch sometimes when I was a kid. There was the Blue Thunder, the helicopter.
Yep.
Or
Blue
no,
Thun-
Airwolf.
Airwolf was a helicopter. Blue Thunder was the movie about the helicopter.
Okay,
yeah,
so it was
yeah.
Airwolf. That
Airwolf
was a series.
show.
And
yeah.
what was the one with the guy with the motorcycle?
That
forgot what that was called.
was that Nighthawk or
No, that sounds about
something
right.
Like, yeah. Mhm.
It had that like synthesizer open with the lasers. Pretty cool.
Oh, I loved all that stuff.
By the way, good Easter.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed.
Here, everybody have a good one.
Yep.
Go around
absolutely.
the room real quick.
Yeah, definitely. Where our church did our traditional service, but we also had a cantata where basically the choir kind of sang through a series of songs and some narrations to sort of tell the story. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a great time at Grace Church. Had an excellent message from Ron Tucker, and went to eat kind of a brunch at Brio's over at
in Frontenac.
Yes,
Yeah.
Lindbergh and Clayton, I think it is.
Yep. No, Rachel and I did the after we went to her church. It was the traditional Easter PF Chang's lunch.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, we didn't know if her boys were going to be with us, and so we couldn't really make reservations. And then
right.
finally they said, "Oh, we're going to go with their grandmother."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Okay, well, let me see what's on there." So I go on the Open Table app and I set up reservations, and I just like, this is what we can get,
That actually makes sense.
Yeah.
That actually makes sense. It's kind of like the A Christmas Story Christmas dinner. It's like last minute, who's open, who's got the food.
I had sweet and sour chicken, just like Jesus did at the Last Supper.
Well, I had ham. Just like Jesus
That's
had.
right. I'm gonna guess
no.
he did not.
I'm gonna guess no.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Equally
goodness.
no.
But no, beautiful weather. And then of course my daughter actually came by and we went out to dinner. So did get to do a little bit of hanging out with that. And the only bad thing about that is I was watching the games, and I had my hopes up when I left because we went to that Drake's Place restaurant. There's a new one in Richmond Heights, and I'm watching the Cardinals game play the Dodgers. And when I left, they had a lead. I'm like, oh, great, they're going to split the series.
Mm-hmm.
Nope,
They did not.
They did not, but they didn't get swept. And
but the NCAA tournament, you're doing okay.
I have actually North Carolina State.
Nice.
And so they won. They beat Duke. So
Okay.
they're going to the Final Four.
Yep.
And so I've got one of the Final Four teams. All my others have been gone forever. But yeah, so that was kind of fun to watch that.
As far as I know, everybody's brackets have been broken.
Oh, apparently it's one of those
1,000 times.
insane ones.
Mhm.
Another insane year. All right, real quick here, because I want to go into this in more depth. And by the way, right around 7:05, I think, let's go into more depth on this, because I noticed a pattern with the hard left.
Okay.
When it comes to this Transgender Day of Visibility.
Right.
And so I'm thinking all day yesterday, because even on Friday, we mentioned that there was some county government somewhere that declared Easter to be Transgender Day of Visibility. Well, it turns out this is one of those things where the hard left and the pervert community has been celebrating this for years and years and years. It's always March 31st.
Mm-hmm.
Now, should they have made a change this year? Sure. Absolutely. But you're not talking about a group or an activism, anything based on any sort of morals or ethics.
Right.
And you're talking about, I mean, by definition, a perverse thing.
Yes.
So they really leaned into it,
they had to make a really big deal about it.
Yeah. So I saw obviously, people were picking up on, you're going to do this on Easter. You're going to do this on Resurrection Sunday. You're going to do this on the most holy day of the year for Christians, mainstream Christians, Orthodox Christians. And which it is. It's not Christmas. Christmas isn't. Easter is.
Right.
Resurrection Sunday is.
Right.
And they basically said, "F yeah, we are."
Sure
that's what they leaned into. And it was interesting because obviously the expected and reasonable anger at this, which I'm not interested in feeding into the the rage mobs right now, because I think there's a bigger picture and I want to talk about it. And their reaction was, "It's been like this forever." And just now you're upset. Get over yourselves, And so they're trying to take this, you're irrational people,
right?
And when I was thinking about how to talk about this today, because I don't want to do the rage mob thing. That was done yesterday. I get it. But it does show you that the left does have religion.
Yeah,
this is their cult-like religion.
Absolutely.
This, the environmental cause, the sacrament of abortion, all of these things have a religious fervor for the left. Now, the Republican Party, especially at the national level, uses Christians.
Yes.
The left and the Democratic Party hates Christians.
Yes.
Or want to redefine them.
Yeah, if they're not doing one, they're doing the other for sure.
Right.
Yeah, and I just found it interesting because, like you said, this Trans Day of Visibility thing has been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
So the intersection with Easter is coincidental, but I think it's illustrative. It shows a lot of exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
The comparison, the juxtaposition between these two essentially religious observances should be clear to everybody. Okay, well, where does everybody stand in regards to what they worship?
And when I saw the social media feeds, because we have some local leftists, in addition, obviously, the White House with their proclamation as well. When you looked at, did they say Happy Easter? Most of them did, but it was a real quick, hey, Happy Easter to all those who celebrate kind of stuff. J.B. Pritzker wished kids happy Easter egg hunting. But then when you looked at their Transgender Day of Visibility post, paragraph.
Gosh,
and then a pattern that I saw in that paragraph as well. It's clear what they value, and it is not truth. It is not morality. It is not anything that Christians should be standing for. And I actually saw a couple posts of leftists, including President Biden, who were trying to basically roll this into a religious thing. He said, to all of our, transgender community, you're made in God's image and you deserve, this, that, and the other.
Well, yeah, but that's Catholic, noted Catholic President
Catholic
Biden.
Joe Biden,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So I when I'm seeing this war of words, first of all, I didn't engage in it on social media. So if you follow me on social media, I don't think I posted anything yesterday.
Yeah.
Because I've got other things to do. I'm not going to allow them to hijack Easter.
Yeah.
I'm not going to allow them to hijack Christmas. I'm not going to allow them to, not from me at least.
Right.
But that's really what it felt like yesterday when I was scrolling through and preparing for today and looking for the news. It looked like we're going to hijack. We're starting the fight here.
Yeah.
I went through the archives yesterday of the White House proclamations on this. The first time that a Transgender Day of Visibility proclamation was ever issued. You want to guess what year?
Was it like a couple years? Well, was it when Joe Biden took office?
2021.
2021.
It had never been recognized or anything. But 21 until now, Joe Biden's the only president who has put the weight of the White House behind that.
Wow. That actually surprised me. I thought Obama might have been the first, but no, I guess that makes sense because the trans thing really didn't become a gigantic, monstrous entity in the Zeitgeist until recently.
Yeah. Rebecca on Rumble here already. By the way, a lot of people talking on Rumble here. We had our first, April Fools. Charles says, hey, the border is secured. April Fools. Right.
Okay.
Rebecca says, Trans Day is a woke cult standing on lies, throwing tantrums at truth. Yep.
Oh, wow. That's well put.
That's a lot that was said in very few words.
Yeah.
Right there. That was a lot that was packed into that. So,
Laudable.
yeah, Rebecca, you're right about that. So I've at 7:05, I've put in a lot of thought into how I'm assessing this whole thing, and I saw a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think what they want is just for us to throw a fit and be furious. And I think we should be furious.
Yeah.
I don't think we should throw a fit. I
Right.
think we should take on their foundation of lies.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw the pattern in what many of them were saying. So there were some notes that went out to somebody. And I saw the pattern.
Okay.
And in less than an hour, I want to talk about that as well.
Okay.
All right. It is 6:15 right now, 314-912-1019. Just ahead here. Hey, free money from the government? What could go wrong with that, right?
Oh, no. There's everything. Everything is wrong with free money from the government.
Illinois friends.
Because it's not free.
Got an update for you. Everybody else, pay attention because what happens here could be attempted to spread somewhere else. Matter of fact, it's already in St. Louis City.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So we'll get to this around 6:19. I'll explain what's going on right here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Nation, making cold mind to fight your war. Stop it right now.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com.
Indifferent. Stop it right now before you blow us up.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin car. Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up.
Pigeons, they are everywhere, and they're very good at dive bombing freshly washed cars. Wellington Environmental reminds you those droppings are more than a nuisance. They can be a major health issue, especially massive droppings on buildings or in parking garages. So who do you call to safely clean it up? You do what many hospitals, universities, public buildings already do. You call Wellington Environmental. Wellington Environmental has been dealing with all kinds of hazards for 35 years. Special people, special skills, special equipment. Wellington gets it done. So to avoid health issues ranging from pigeon droppings to mold to chemical leaks, contact Wellington. 314-644-4930. 644-4930. WellingtonSTL.com. Wellington Environmental. Your world cleaner, better, safer. Be well with Wellington.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
I'm Susie Moore, and this is More to the Point.
I feel like I could probably start every column with, I'm old enough to remember when, but here's another instance of that. It's probably not politically correct in 2024, but in 1981, Shut Up Your Face was a fun novelty hit. With a jaunty little polka beat, a mandolin, and some accordion, Joe Dolce introduced us to his sanguine Italian mama and her sage advice to quit griping and realize that things aren't so bad after all. By then, I was old enough that I was no longer forbidden from using the phrase, shut up. Though as a young kid, I was. I didn't really understand why. It wasn't like it was an actual swear word. In hindsight, I suspect it was simply my folks trying to teach me not to be rude, and spare them the headache of a bratty little me irritating my older siblings. Either way, though, I look at it now and realize there was a deeper lesson there as well. We may not always want to hear what others have to say, and we don't absolutely have to listen, but they still have the right to say it. These days, there's an alarming uptick in calls for contrary opinions to be silenced. To those quick to insist others should be made to shut up, I say, what's the matter, you?
Susie Moore is Deputy Managing Editor for RedState.com. For more to the point and everything Susie Moore, log on to RedState.com. Follow Susie on Twitter at SmoozyQ and keep listening to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at Stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday, 9 to 11, right here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning people.
Who's gonna tell you when it's too late?
You know, one of my favorite metal bands did a cover of this song.
Oh, really?
A metal band did a cover of this song.
And it's really good.
Oh. Really?
Yes.
Go ahead, tell us. Who is it?
Six, SIXX, 6 AM, which is Nikki Sixx's
Okay.
sort of, post Motley Crue band. They did a cover of this, and it is brilliant.
Really?
Yep.
Now, did they keep the you know,
The
sort of
melody?
ballady feel to it? Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right.
They did justice to the song.
Wow.
Very, very respectful cover. Look it up, everybody.
Okay.
6 SIXX AM,
M.
which is basically their last names.
Right.
That's an acronym for their last names.
I
That's how
gotcha.
they came up with it. Just saying. Of course, give me memories of Flashback Friday. So if there are 80s bump music songs you want to hear this Friday, let us know. On the social medias, email Stell. You can email me as well. All right, Sunday was the most holy day of the year for both Christians and for those who hate Christians, like I said. 7:05, I noticed the pattern on this.
Yep.
With that.
The comms guy came out and you saw it.
Yep.
You saw it.
I saw it. All right, free money from the government. What could go wrong with that, Illinois?
Let it rain.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying.
By the way, one of America's biggest cities is fighting in court to allow non-citizens to vote.
Yeah, this is so
This
stupid.
is really happening.
Yeah.
So this could spread to the rest of the country, or could it?
That's
Maybe.
a conspiracy theory, Mike.
Right, yeah.
Nobody's trying to get illegals to vote. Nobody's trying to get
Nobody's trying to do
non-citizens.
that.
Nobody's doing that.
So let's update on that around 6:35. Okay, we'll do that.
Okay.
All right. Just a quick note for everybody: we're not doing April Fool's pranks on the show here.
No.
that's not a prank either. We're just not doing it.
You know what? I didn't even have time to think of it. Easter came so fast, and I was so worried about Easter, and now it's April Fool's Day. I was like, I didn't have. If I want to do an April Fool's Day joke or something like that, I feel like I got to prepare for it.
Yeah.
I got to set it up right. It's got to be executed properly, or else people get really, really upset, and things go wrong, and all kinds of things. And I got to rep.
But the thing is if you do execute it properly, they can still get very, very upset.
Well, that's true. That's true too. But although that's intentional.
Yeah, I've actually, for whatever reason, I have never understood what the appeal of April Fool's Day was. No idea.
True.
It's never just resonated with me.
Yeah, I mean, as a vehicle for a joke, I kind of get it, but I don't know why it exists. Maybe that's more accurate to the way I look at the holiday.
Yeah.
Not so holiday.
Yeah, or whatever it is.
Or whatever you want to call it.
I mean, it's like, listen, we have misinformation everywhere, so why are we going to concentrate on one day? We got 364 other days that we can,
They've been trying to fool us every single day of the year.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. Illinois lawmakers are looking at a bill that would create a state-based guaranteed income program. Now, remember, St. Louis City already has one of these.
Yeah, I remember.
Certain people.
Now, that's a pilot program, though, right?
It's a pilot
St. Louis,
program,
because they wanted to prove its efficacy. They want to say, hey, look, here's the evidence of how it improved the lives of all the people we just gave free money to.
Which they do in this article that I've got here, which I found on WGN's news page. They said they are looking at St. Louis City's guaranteed basic income as a success because it shows that it's helping the people who receive the free money taken from other people. It's helping them pay their bills. What a success.
No? It's like, wait, if your criteria is they use the money, then it's obviously going to be a quote-unquote success. If you gave cash to a bum on the street and he just blows it all on liquor and cigarettes or something like that, they would call that a success because he spent the money
and gave a tax revenue through improve the economy.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. It's like, hey, he improved the economy that liquor store. over there.
Or by that same logic, like what you're talking about is, if somebody robs your house and takes all of your money,
Mm-hmm.
well, and he pays his rent and puts his kids through school, then clearly it was a success.
That was a success, yes.
Yes.
And it was a benefit to society.
For him, yeah, precisely. So at one point, are we crossing from just socialism wannabes to just dipping our toes in communism?
I think it's pretty immediate. I think socialism's a misnomer because it's really just early stage communism. It's like if you have a little bit of cancer, it's still cancer.
Right.
It's just not kill you cancer yet.
Yeah, you have time to stop it and reverse course.
You have time to stop it.
So in case you want to look it up, in the Illinois legislature, it's in the state Senate. It is Senate Bill 3462 if you're into looking those things up.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to be shocked to know that a Democrat from Chicago has proposed this. His name is Ram Villavalam. And through the legislation, if you meet the preferred groups, you'd get $1,000 cash a month, regardless of your immigration status. I read that.
They even went there with it, too.
Went there. I read that in the news article.
Oh, wow.
WGN says, through this legislation, residents who meet certain qualifications would be eligible for monthly $1,000 cash payments, regardless of immigration status. It's unclear how long the payments would last. Okay.
Oh, my God.
So if you want your $1,000 cash, courtesy of every other taxpayer, you would, under this plan, be somebody who provides care for a child or another specified dependent. You would be somebody who recently gave birth or adopted a child, or you would enroll or have enrolled in an education or vocational program. So essentially, I'm guessing every college student out there.
Yeah. You qualify.
You go enroll at the University of Illinois, or I don't know, Illinois State, or
Northern Illinois, Southern Illinois,
and
Eastern Illinois.
change your permanent registration and voting address to your Illinois place there, and get $1,000 cash per month.
Per month.
Yeah. And so the Illinois Department of Human Services would be responsible for handing out the program. So, oh my goodness. And then to be fair, in this WGN article says, for perspective, the city of St. Louis launched a pilot guaranteed income program last fall to help financially struggling families. Business Insider touted it as an early success in helping families pay off debts, budget for monthly bills, and afford groceries. Of course, you're taking money from other people that you didn't earn. Of course, you're going to consider that a success.
Oh my gosh! It is straight up socialism. It's redistribution of wealth. That's kind of at the heart of socialistic, communistic ways of looking at the world, and that's all they're talking about. If the government gets to set the criteria of who receives the money and who has to pay the money, then they're simply saying, you're not allowed to have this. I get to make decisions about your money, and you must be dependent on me to the other person, to the one on the receiving end.
And this is in addition to the already over-the-top social welfare programs and pension programs they have in Illinois, which is Illinois should have filed bankruptcy by now.
Oh gosh,
I mean, they're so over the top, so underwater. With everything right now, they can't afford something like this. But I guarantee you that is not going to stop them from trying to give this actual consideration. So probably what they'll end up doing is doing what St. Louis did, and they'll say, well, let's set up a pilot program. How are we going to measure the success? Well, was somebody on the verge of being evicted from their apartment? Now they're not. Look at this. It was a success.
Oh my gosh.
Whereas you've got somebody,
So stupid.
in Carbondale or Mount Zion or Jacksonville or, I don't know, Russellville or wherever, who are saying, Cairo, and they're saying, wait a minute, I'm struggling here and you're taxing me to death. It wasn't a success for me. But in Chicago or Decatur or Rockford or wherever, they're like, well, these people in this pilot program, we reduced evictions of this demographic.
Oh, gosh.
This economic demographic by this much. Therefore, it was a success. We've got to expand the pilot.
Exactly. Well, these people benefited from the money we stole from your pocket and gave to them.
So it was a success.
So that's a success.
But that's how socialism works, and that's how socialists think.
Yes.
Look at the end result. The input of the money doesn't matter because, remember, they were privileged to be able to earn that money in the first place.
Right.
And they have to pay their fair share. And
which is a bigger share than everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what my fair share of your hard-earned money is? Zero. You know what your fair share of my hard-earned money is? Zero.
I think it was Thomas Sowell who said something that's like the way these leftists and communists and socialists always think about these things. They think greed is wanting to keep your own money.
Right.
Like that's how they describe greed. It's like, hey, I don't want to be taxed for this. And they, oh, why are you so greedy? It's my money.
Right.
That's not greed.
No.
That's justice.
So
actual justice.
Yeah. So who knows where this is going to go? The Illinois, I could see them passing something like this. I mean, we're going to have some of our friends from the Freedom Caucus on probably again next week. I don't think we're going to do it this week. But we'll see if there's any life to this bill right here.
Yeah.
But understand that this is the embodiment of socialist thinking, and you're seeing programs like this popping up all over the country. So when media, when your people on campus, when your coworkers roll their eyes when you say socialism, and they're like, we're not socialist. We just think people should be able to, have the right to these things.
Right.
Okay. Well, this is what it is.
That's what it is. Yeah. It's like, I'm not a Christian. I just believe Jesus rose from the dead and he's my Lord and Savior. It's like, does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Does that make any sense? Of course not. If you say I am the definition of this thing, but I'm not the thing, you're lying.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, exactly. All right, 314-912-1019. By the way, there is one city, New York City, going to court, fighting hard in court, using taxpayer money to go to court to make sure that non-citizens get to vote in elections.
Mm-hmm.
So
you heard that right.
Yeah, you disagree with your vote on the school board. Well, somebody who's not even a citizen can cancel out your vote in some areas. We've got Becky Arps from Americans for City Voting, or Citizen Voting, rather, going to be with us around 6:34.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
You can't go on thinking nothing's wrong. Who's gonna drive you home tonight?
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL. Enable our Alexa skill.
Hello.
Hey, Alexa.
Yes, I'm listening.
Play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert meteorologist Leah Hill. A warm and humid afternoon, temperatures in the upper 70s, and we're also watching for rain and storms. Today is a First Alert weather day. Tracking really two rounds. The first round in the afternoon, a bit more isolated, those storms, but any severe storms could be capable of producing large hail. And then with the later round of storms, it's a line of showers and thunderstorms that passes through the area that has potential to be strong or severe. Watch for all types of severe weather. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Hey News Talk STL family, this is Marissa Jones with Jones Air and Water. I am so excited to announce our newest addition to our services, nutrition and wellness coaching. If you're looking to lose weight, increase energy, get rid of those headaches, balance your hormones, or simply find a healthy balance in your lifestyle, give me a call today. Mention News Talk STL and receive 10% off any nutritional service. Call us at 636-899-1040. That's 636-899-1040.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Classic Kicks Country is streaming now. Hear all your new country favorites from the 90s.
I should have been a cowboy.
Streaming as it happened in the 90s. Classic Kicks.
Let's go, girls.
Download the Classic Kicks app from the App Store. Online at ClassicKicks.com.
I'll go back.
Or enable the Classic Kicks skill on Alexa.
I love this station.
90s New Country streaming now. Columbo and Katie.
There's nothing like an argument between AOC and Senator Ted Cruz, and this week they're clawing at each other over her RICO comments. We'll discuss this with Virginia Kruta on Monday.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
I can feel it floating away, inch by inch, day by day.
In an election year, obviously who you vote for matters, how you vote and how the votes are counted matters, but who is doing the voting also matters. I'm Mike Ferguson. I noticed an article that, several articles in the news over the past week or so that said the city of New York is actually going to court asking for the court to let them allow non-citizens to vote in local elections. And I think a lot of people got caught off guard by that, saying, what in the world are you talking about? If you're not an American citizen, you can't be voting in elections. But the reality is, in some places around the country, yes, you can. Well, there is an effort to clarify that nationwide. It's called Americans for Citizen Voting. And their director of research, Becky Arps, joins me right now. And Becky, thanks for being on the show. First, when you look at the situation in New York, kind of clarify in case I got something wrong, but I think I got it right. They want to allow people who are not citizens of the United States to vote in very local elections. A court along the way said, yeah, you can't do that. And the city is what? Appealing that decision?
Well, Mike, thank you so much for inviting me to be on. And yeah, you got that right. To clarify, so in December 22, the city council, after trying multiple years, voted to allow non-citizens to vote. Immediately, there were 3 different people that filed a suit. Councilmember Joe Borelli, U.S. Rep. Nicole Malakatis, and Borough President Vito Fasella filed in the Staten Island Supreme Court to not let this go through. And ironically enough, as the city council was voting to allow this to go through, we ran a poll in New York City, and the citizens of New York City didn't want to allow non-citizens to vote. But the city council passed it. It went to the Staten Island court. The Staten Island court struck it down. The New York City appealed that, and it went to appellate court. And that sat in that court for a very long time, almost a year. And they also struck it down for a 3-1 ruling. And now they're going to a higher court, the Court of Appeals, to once again try to allow non-citizens, green card holders, and it's specific green cards, but green card holders to vote municipal elections in New York City.
Okay, so we're talking just municipal. And to be clear, this isn't just a New York City issue, Becky. You all have been doing work all over the country. There are different cities. And the basic argument is, hey, they're not voting for president. They're not voting for Congress. They're not maybe even voting for governor. They're voting for the city council seats. They're voting for the school district seats where, you know what, these things directly impact them. They pay local taxes. Why shouldn't they be allowed to vote as part of the community? So let's talk about the bigger issue here, because when New York City says, well, it's just in the municipal elections, it's not in the national stuff, mind your own business, rest of the country. What's the problem with that argument?
Well, there's a bunch of different problems. I mean, there's first of all, the idea that voting in the United States should be for United States citizens. I appreciate the fact that you're here and you're paying taxes. But for example, anybody that comes to the city of New York City and stays in the hotel is paying taxes. Should they also be allowed to vote? Then there's the argument with the school district. Well, I have a kid in the school. I want to influence what their education looks like. Shouldn't I be able to vote in school board elections? If that's the best way that you can find to influence your kid's education, you really need to rethink that. So they'll make those arguments. We think that citizenship is required for it. Also, and the thing that they're not telling you is that, say you're a green card holder and you're allowed to vote in this municipal election, and by accident, because it's very possible, you're handed a state or federal ballot also, they have now impacted your ability to become a citizen. Then add to the fact, the other thing that they're not telling you is in New York City, the Board of Elections asked for several $1 million to be able to afford this, because that means that people that haven't been maintaining a voter roll now all of a sudden need to maintain a voter roll.
Becky, let me come up with another. I'm trying to get out ahead of what the other side is saying on this. In addition to the argument that you just addressed regarding, well, they live here, they pay taxes, which I think you did a good job answering. They may say, hey, wait a minute, this is our city or our county or whatever it is. Why are you telling us how to run our elections? Let local control happen. Why should a state organization or a national organization be concerned with local elections in New York? And there have been others. I mean, I want to say San Francisco and a few others that have gone the similar route. So like I said, this isn't just one city.
Oh, no, this is in Maryland. There's multiple municipalities in Maryland, San Francisco, and several other municipalities in California, and 3 municipalities in Vermont. In Vermont, they really kind of addressed that, and they really struggled with that in an interesting sort of way. So the thing is, you say, okay, well, we want to allow non-citizens to vote on things in the municipality, and it doesn't impact state or federal things. But the thing is, if you're looking at, for example, if you wanted to vote on a tax increase, I live in University City. If you wanted to vote on a tax increase in University City, which seems like a very municipal thing, well, we're going to vote on a tax increase for a trolley project. Well, that trolley project is also brought in with state and federal funds. So now I've got a non-citizen voting on how state and federal money is spent.
We are visiting with Becky Arps from Americans for Citizen Voting. Let's talk about the what to do about it and what you all are asking at this point states to do. You're obviously keeping an eye closely on the municipal cases and the court cases, but Americans for Citizen Voting, you're going straight to the state level to deal with this. Tell me about the solutions that you're hoping all the states adopt.
So the interesting thing that we found is a lot of the constitutions will say, the state constitutions will say every U.S. citizen or all U.S. citizens. And that's been found to not be sufficient, because the argument is that every is a floor, and that just means that you can't take the vote away from U.S. citizens, but that doesn't mean that you can't add the vote to other types of people or classes of people. So we are advising state legislatures to amend their state constitutions so that they say only United States citizens can vote. This has already passed in Florida, Alabama, Colorado in 2020, and in Ohio and Louisiana in 2022. And it's on the ballot for the people of Iowa, Wisconsin, Idaho, and Kentucky in 2024, and we've got a handful of other states that we're working on to also amend those state constitutions so that they say only United States citizens, to clarify it.
Yeah, a lot of people would say, well, you're just playing with semantics here, but you're saying, every citizen can vote versus only citizen can vote has a legal ramification?
In San Francisco, the San Francisco City Council passed allowing non-citizens to vote, and somebody sued. And the district court said, okay, it's not constitutional. So the San Francisco went back and said, okay, well, yes, it is fine to an appellate court. And their argument was, if you wanted it to be only citizens, then the Constitution should say only and not every. And the court agreed And so they reenacted non-citizen voting in San Francisco.
All right. And where do we learn more about what you're doing with Americans for Citizen Voting, whether it's a website or social media, anything like that?
So we have a website. It is onlycitizens.vote. That's really different because generally you have .com and .org, but we're focused on only citizens who vote, thus .vote. You can follow us on Twitter at @4ACV, and we have a Americans for Citizen Voting -ACV page on Facebook and a couple state pages of states that we're really focused on.
All right. Becky Arps, Americans for Citizen Voting, Director of Research. Really appreciate you kind of bringing us up to date on the cases. This is probably going to catch a lot of people off guard that non-citizens are actually voting.
It definitely does catch them off guard, and thank you for the opportunity to talk about it.
And you may be saying, wait a minute, Arps. I've heard that name before. Where do I know the name Arps? Oh, yeah. Well, Becky is the better half of Chris Arps from the afternoon show right here on News Talk STL. You can hear Chris every weekday from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock alongside Tim Jones as well. And Becky's right. I mean, of course. Yeah, listen, it doesn't mean that you're anti-legal immigrant. I'm pro-legal immigrant. I'm very anti-illegal immigrant. But voting should be reserved for citizens and citizens alone. They're just 100% correct about that. Got some thoughts on it? Let's talk. 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Tony Colombo here for Cadre Asset Management. A cadre is defined as a small group of people specially trained for a particular purpose or profession, and that is the role that Cadre Asset Management can play in your financial journey. Learn more about how they can help secure your financial future by following Cadre Asset Management on Facebook, or just go to cadreassetmgmt.com.
Cadre Asset Management is a Missouri-based independent advisory firm licensed under and securities and investment advisory services offered through Founders Financial Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
Did you know one of the best investments you can make? It's in yourself. At My Computer Career, in just a few months, you could start your new career in the high-demand, recession-resistant field of information technology. Isn't it time you invest in you and start a career in networking, cybersecurity, AI, or upskill to boost your current IT career? So, get the ROI you deserve at My Computer Career. No experience necessary. Start now at mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? A man age 50 non-tobacco user can obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $110 per month. Level rate for 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rate for 20 years. If you're a smoker, there are great rates available for you as well. Call Term Busters for a quote. 1-800-908-7636. You're probably paying more than you should. Call 1-800-908-7636. Remember, call Term Busters. 1-800-908-7636. Sample rate for preferred non-tobacco rate class. Exam required to qualify.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Speaker Tim Jones here. Make sure you listen to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show every day from 4 to 6 p.m. But right now, let's get back to our early morning media mogul, Mike Ferguson, in the morning.
Successful dump.
Wake up, America. It all worked out.
You know, I mean, they got all the news.
The Morning News Dump.
All right, the Republican majority in the U.S. House almost gone. Got another one quitting.
Really?
Yep. So, sure, why not have more partisan infighting? Why not?
Sure.
Also, 7:05, want to get into this. Which holiday did you celebrate yesterday?
That's a question right there.
Christians and leftists have very different views on that. By the way, I noticed a pattern on this. And for somebody out there who just said, you could be a leftist and be a Christian, 314-912-1019. Let's talk, my friend. Let's
I
do
argue
that.
not.
Yeah, let's talk. All right, I know you're going to be shocked to hear this, but the Cardinals bullpen blew a game. Yeah, okay. All right, let's get started with the update from the tragedy in Baltimore. Maryland Governor Wes Moore, he says that conditions are unsafe for divers right now following the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge that happened last week. Weather is a factor out there on the East Coast, but he also says that debris from the wreckage and apparently a lot of unstable debris is a big part of the problem. 13 of the 56 containers with hazardous materials. So 56 containers on that ship had hazardous materials. 13 of them were actually destroyed.
Okay, so those are among the ones in the front that got knocked down when the bridge collapsed onto the front of the ship.
Right. So Governor Moore was on Fox News Sunday to talk about the current efforts.
This is a remarkably complex operation. We know this is going to be a long road to recovery, but we know that we have to move with safety and we have to move with speed in order to get our commercial engine going again.
8 people, construction workers, were thrown into the waters. Divers recovered 2 of the bodies. 4 obviously presumed dead, and they don't know where those remains are. They think that they are trapped under all of the wreckage of the bridge, and they think that the remains are still in those construction companies' vehicles. 2 of the workers were rescued from the waters after they fell 185 feet.
Yeah, that recovery mission may not ever come to a conclusion. I mean, that may just be their tomb down there.
I think that could absolutely be the case. All right, let's talk some politics here real quick. Wisconsin Republican Congressman Mike Gallagher, he is leaving Congress on April 19th, so not even 3 weeks.
Wow.
Republicans in the House are losing another member.
Now, what for this time?
I don't know why this one's. I'm sure he wants to spend more time with his family.
Everybody wants to
Isn't that
spend
what they all
more
say?
time with their family.
Yeah, his initial retirement date was later in the year.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, a week or 2 ago, he updated it and said, oh, no, I guess I'm going to leave in a couple of weeks.
Oh, okay. So
Wait
he
a
was
minute.
he had already announced a retirement that was coming. Okay.
But it was going to be later on.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's an election this year. I mean, retire after the election.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
I mean, it's like literally it's April. There are 8-9 months left in the year. Couldn't you stick it out that much longer? Okay, so that
makes me wonder if there's a health thing.
Well, it could be. That sometimes happens. So that means the Republican majority in the House is now at 217 seats. So basically, Republicans can afford to lose 1 vote. One.
That's an absent.
There is no majority.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Speaker Mike Johnson was on Sunday Night in America with Trey Gowdy on Fox, and he goes, yeah, maybe this isn't the time for factions.
We have to stand together, because when we do that, especially with a razor-thin majority as we have, we'll have better negotiation in the back room. We'll be able to have greater standing when we argue with the Democrats about it.
Okay, so where's that line between, listen, you just got to stick with Team R versus you better be principled, because you can't go to too many Republicans and say, well, just go along with everything. So that changes the entire dynamic. Basically, Mike Johnson's in a no-win situation.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a conservative guy.
This is really
but
rough.
he's in a no-win situation because for some in there, nothing is ever good enough. And for others, it's all about tribalism. So where's the right approach?
Yeah, and don't forget all of the Republicans in purple areas who are really reluctant to do the super red things I won't even say super red, any sort of red thing, because the blue people in their districts think anything that even smacks of slightly a hint of conservatism is too much.
Right. And then there's, some others who, basically it's like you didn't pass the purity test, so, we want to throw you out.
Right. Yeah, so. Exactly. We differ on this 1%, so now you're an enemy.
Right. Yeah. All right. A Missouri lawmaker sponsoring a bill that would allow police anywhere in the state to stop, inspect, and detain drivers to see if their temporary tags are legit.
What?
Yeah. Okay, so Republican Brad Pollitt says the state is losing tens of millions of dollars a year in sales and property taxes because people aren't completing the registration process after buying a car. Now, he admits part of his bill likely violates the Fourth Amendment. He actually told MissouriNet that.
Come on.
So he
Come
says,
on.
So he's going to amend it soon on the House floor. Now, first of all, the argument that, well, the state's losing tens of millions of dollars in tax revenues, I don't care.
That doesn't move me.
I did just the state has grown its budget and grown its everything year after year after year. They've got record income coming right now, record revenues, record big budget. I don't care. And this issue is going to go away with the temp tag thing because temp tags are being phased out under a new law. So why are we saying, hey, listen, let's equip police to really have more confrontations with people over something like this? Listen, if your tag's expired, they can pull you over now.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is starting to become a thing with me now because we talked about some of these various cities. They're coming up with all kinds of new approaches to dealing with the temp tag stuff. After that bill that is going to phase out temp tags, I thought we were done with this. I thought we were done talking about it because eventually it's going to go away. You just have to wait. It's just a matter of time. Yeah. So why do they keep creating new rules, new legislation? Why is this push happening now?
Yeah, I don't, because at some point what's going to happen is if you see a temp tag, it's bad.
Right, because temp tags don't exist anymore.
They don't exist anymore.
2030 or whatever.
That's not even that far. I think it's just a couple years down the road.
Yeah.
They're going to be implementing it. So they're going to be, remember, temp tags are only supposed to be good for 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
So within another year or two, there won't be any legal temp tags.
Right.
In the state. I don't get it. And the thing is like, well, we're losing millions of dollars in sales taxes. So they're going to have to pay it at some point.
Yeah.
And
you'll get it.
Then you're going to get interest and fees and penalties and stuff. So, if the tags are expired, like I saw somebody yesterday with regular tags, actual license plates with expired tags. I don't want to throw my daughter under the bus on this, but, they're out there too.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That's true.
All right. Let's see here. The Biden administration's push for electric vehicles hitting a few speed bumps.
More than 2 years after President Biden signed the infrastructure bill into law, only 4 states have opened public EV charging stations funded by the legislation. The president has set a goal of creating a national network of 500,000 chargers by the end of the decade. Right now, 175,000 are available. Meanwhile, Ford Motor Company will drastically cut the number of hourly workers at its factory that builds the Ford F-150 Lightning as sales of EVs slow. Greg Clugston, Washington.
A freshman business student would realize how stupid these policies are.
It's like, this is going to destroy us. And that's not even getting into the fact that 500,000 charging stations, if they were all being used at the same time, would shut down the freaking electrical grid across the entire country.
Much less make these publicly funded ones that nobody wants. All right. The Blues host the Oilers tonight at Enterprise Center. Okay, puck drops at 8 o'clock in that game. Blues technically are not eliminated from the playoffs. They're still in the playoff hunt at this point, just not looking good.
Yeah.
They would need to make up at least an 8-point deficit in the standings over the next 8 games to get into the wild card spot. I don't see it happening on that. Cardinals blew a 4-2 lead in the 8th inning, giving up 2 home runs in the inning. They ended up losing to the Dodgers 5-4, but they won on Saturday, so the Cardinals at least avoided a sweep in the opening series. Next up, a series with the San Diego Padres.
The Cardinals open the 2024 season at home on Thursday, April 4th. Don't miss the tradition and excitement of opening day at Busch Stadium. That day, all fans 21 and older will take home the 2024 Magnet schedule thanks to Budweiser. Never miss a game with this convenient information hub. That's Thursday, April 4th, the Cardinals home opener and the 2024 Magnet schedule presented by Budweiser. Tickets still remain. Get yours at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Lance Lynn, St. Louis Cardinals for the Loop.
On Sunday, April 7th, the Cardinals host the Marlins. And that day, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will take home their own long-sleeve hooded pullover. Everyone will want this light blue, lightweight, and stylish pullover that features a popular throwback logo. Following the game, kids 15 and younger can participate in the High Chew Kids Run the Bases. That's Sunday, April 7th. Great seats remain. Get yours at cardinals.com/promotion.
This is Nolan Gorman, St. Louis Cardinals, for the Lou.
Springtime in St. Louis, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Mr. Rob Miller from Harvesttown Auto Body in St. Peters did. He called Rhino Shield. Rob, what was the thought process for going with Rhino Shield as a business owner?
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted.
Rob, tell everyone how the experience was with Rhino Shield from start to finish.
The process that I liked was when you came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. Our building was really faded. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
Are your neighbors jealous?
I would be if I was them.
Thanks, Rob. Now it's time to call 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Genius.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. At least some of the illegal aliens allegedly involved in a riot along the southern border overrunning National Guard troops in Texas recently have reportedly been ordered released by a judge. The El Paso Times reports the judge acted after declaring the DA was not set to proceed with detention hearings for each of those charged. Nashville police hunting for a 46-year-old suspect in a deadly Easter Sunday shooting at an eatery in the city's Salemtown neighborhood. It involved two men. It happened as the place was packed during Sunday brunch.
From what we're hearing, the two got into an argument that significantly escalated within moments. We are hearing that the gunman arrived just minutes before this happened.
Nashville police spokesman Don Aaron, speaking with WTVF, says one man was killed, 5 other people were injured. More than a half dozen young people, 12 to 17 years of age, shot over the weekend in Indianapolis.
One of them was in critical condition at the time and has since been upgraded to stable condition. The remaining have all been stable throughout. A short time ago, a 7th victim, also a juvenile, arrived at an area hospital with another gunshot wound, also listed in stable condition.
Indianapolis Deputy Police Chief Tanya Terry on WRTV. It happened in downtown Indy on Saturday night. Heavy-duty cranes are on the job removing the wreckage of the Key Bridge from the Baltimore Harbor Channel. Maryland's Governor Wes Moore says among the top priorities, reopening the Port of Baltimore and assuring the safety of all of the state's infrastructure, its roads, bridges, and such. 4 construction workers who were on the bridge when it went down remain unaccounted for. Watching Wall Street, the Dow futures are up 106 points. NASDAQ futures 69 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Relief Factor pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Hi, Rhett Rasmussen of BestHotGrill.com. Step up your grilling game with our Solaire portable infrared grills. Our compact everywhere is a favorite of RVers and trailer pullers. Solaire Infrared provides the quick sear for bar marks and texture needed to properly finish sous vide. Use a portable alongside your larger conventional grill to create an instant sear zone and more juicy and flavorful food. Learn more at BestHotGrill.com. Affordable, powerful portable.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm
First Alert meteorologist Leah Hill. A warm and humid afternoon, temperatures in the upper 70s, and we're also watching for rain and storms. Today is a First Alert weather day, tracking really 2 rounds. The first round in the afternoon, a bit more isolated, those storms, but any severe storms could be capable of producing large hail. And then with the later round of storms, it's a line of showers and thunderstorms that passes through the area that has potential to be strong or severe. Watch for all types of severe weather. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
When you go shopping, you may not get the bargain you want, but at least you know and can compare prices. It should be that way with healthcare, but too often it's not. Need an operation on your knee? Want to know what it's going to cost? Good luck. For 3 years, hospitals have been required to provide patients with list prices and have negotiated charges for some 300 services. Only 36%, just over a third, are fully compliant. In Missouri, prices differ greatly depending on a patient's insurance. The cost of a pelvic CT scan, for example, can be 20 times more expensive in one hospital than another. Price transparency allows patients to compare providers, forces hospitals to compete on price, and helps insurers negotiate lower rates. State law should require all healthcare providers to publish prices in a user-friendly form. What we don't know is costing us. The price of healthcare shouldn't be a secret. Check out our 2024 blueprint, Moving Missouri Forward at ShowMeInstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare you!
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
All right, so what was yesterday? Apparently, it depends on who you ask.
Easter Sunday.
It was Easter Sunday.
Well,
Resurrection Day.
Resurrection Day,
as they like to say.
If you're conservative, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a leftist, it was a different religious holiday.
Yeah.
All right, the religious holiday for the left would be the Transgender Day of Remembrance. So
visibility.
Yeah, I'm sorry, visibility. Right, the Transgender Day of Visibility. I'm a heretic.
Burn him at the stake.
314. We're probably just about 5 steps from that.
yeah, we're not far.
314-912-1019, because you saw on Twitter the Easter posts were close to being overwhelmed by the Transgender Day of Visibility posts.
Yes.
And I noticed a pattern by a bunch of the leftists. And I'm talking about the high-profile names. I'm talking about from the Biden administration. I'm talking about from, local members of Congress who shall be named in a minute. Mayor Tashara Jones. I mean, I saw a pattern. I'm like, okay, now we see where they're going with this. But it used to be that people would get upset because of generic Easter greetings.
Yeah.
Stop with the bunnies. Stop with the eggs. It's not about that.
Right.
Well, now that's pretty good if that's what you get.
Hey, I'll take an Easter bunny over this.
Okay, so here's the thing: is by the way, the 720. Speaking of an Easter, this actually happened. How low will pro-Hamas bigots go to harass people?
Oh yeah, we don't know the depths yet.
We don't know yet. That's true. They'll hijack church services, so we don't know how low that actually happened. I'll tell you about it at 7:20. I just want to let you know. Okay, so let's talk about this Transgender Day of Remembrance nonsense on this. Okay, so it's easy. When I was thinking yesterday about how do we talk about this. Now I could do the rage mob thing.
Sure,
we could do that, but I think that was done yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, everybody got what got out what they needed, I think, yesterday on social media.
And when I say the rage mob thing, please do not think for a minute that I am mocking you or disagreeing with you for being furious about this.
Yeah, you should be angry.
You should be.
Yes.
I just think that sort of pushback, happened, and it should have. So we mentioned on Friday, I think on the air, and it was almost in passing because there was some county in Virginia that had declared the Transgender Day of Visibility to be Sunday, and we've been passing. We're like, how insane is that? Well, it turns out that this thing's been going on for a while.
Right.
And it's always March 31st. Ironically, the end of Women's History Month. So
the end of Women's History.
Just want to point that out.
That's not foreboding at all.
Right. No. And Joe Biden is the only president who has ever put up the weight of a White House declaration. I mean, is that a law? No, of course not.
No.
But a White House declaration on this. And so when you see states doing the declaration, Illinois did one, city of St. Louis did one, and so when you see all of this, you see that it is absolutely an attack on the Christian holy day this year. So a lot of people, including a couple of gay Republican pundits out there I saw, they went, hey, it's always March 31st. It just happens to coincide with Easter. Don't lose your mind over it. It's just always March 31st. Get over it. Well, if there were a moral person in the White House, they would have said, ooh, no, not doing it this year. We'll do it April 1st, which would have been more appropriate, or we'll do it on Saturday, but we're not gonna invite this firestorm. But that's not what they did.
You bring up a good question though, right in that. It's like, why isn't it April 1st?
Right.
He's like, ha, fooled you.
Yeah, really, fooled myself.
Yeah, sorry. Go
and
ahead.
but no, that's a great point. But with this approach, what you saw was the generic bunny or Easter egg from these leftists. Yeah. Happy Easter to all those who celebrate. J.B. Pritzker even said, "Happy Easter, kids! Happy hunting on your Easter egg hunts." That kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
But then they went into great detail.
Oh gosh.
On the Transgender Day of Visibility.
Paragraphs of proclamations.
So I printed out some of the posts that were made. Let me grab here because I noticed a pattern.
Yeah, and this happens a lot on social media. You kind of look. Some people have done this thing where they will do a quote search, and it'll come up with hundreds and hundreds of generically similar posts on social media. So it makes you think, okay, somebody sent this out. Like this is robotic.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
There's some sort of talking points, but it shows you where the debate is going here.
Okay.
Governor J.B. Pritzker. Trans rights are human rights on hashtag Trans Day of Visibility. I stand firmly with you in a state where everyone can be who they authentically are. Here in Illinois, you'll always have a home that sees you, accepts you, and respects you. Corey Bush, sending love to our trans communities across St. Louis and the country. The freedom to live your authentic life is something that should be celebrated. We'll keep working every day towards keeping you safe. Hashtag Trans Day of Visibility.
Okay, so authentic life, I think, is one of those things I'm picking up on.
The official City of St. Louis Twitter account, the government site. Today is Transgender Day of Visibility! ! Especially today, the city of St. Louis affirms the right of our trans residents to live as their authentic selves.
Authentic self again. There it is.
We'll see and appreciate all that you bring to our city, and we celebrate your accomplishments in the face of adversity. Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona was among the Biden-Harris officials putting out videos. There were several that were put out and published on Sunday. Here's just a clip of his.
To the many transgender students across the country listening on this Trans Day of Visibility, we in the Biden-Harris administration want you to know that we see you, we support you, and we celebrate you. We also know it's not an easy time to be you. Walking into a classroom should be an act of hope, not an act of bravery. That every day you choose to show up as your true self, you make this world a more brave, more honest, and more free place. In your gift for seeing things as they could be, I see the promise of America. Today, we at the Department of Education want you to know that your school, your community, and your country are better because you're a part of it. You don't just belong here, we need you here. From all of us here at the Department of Education, Happy Trans Day of Visibility.
And that was published on Easter Sunday.
Wow.
Okay.
That was so wrought.
That's a groomer.
Yes, absolutely.
That is the point person of the grooming aspect of public education in this country. Get your kids out of public schools. Okay,
Yes.
that's a whole other discussion here. But let me talk about the authentic self thing.
Yes.
I cannot think of anything right now that is more inauthentic than the gender dysphoria and trans nonsense. Now, again, if you're an adult and you want to lie to yourself and you want to live this lifestyle, I will fight for your right to do that at your own expense. I'm not paying for your surgery or your shots or anything like that. But if you're an adult, hey, you want to mess up yourself, that is your right to do that as an adult. You don't have the right to demand that I be forced to buy into your dysphoria, to buy into your nonsense here. But you've got the right to do that if that's what you want to do as an adult. So, but the idea that somebody who is male or female and demanding that people pretend that they're the opposite is living an authentic life or an authentic self is offensive to the few brain cells it takes to understand basic logic.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting that that's the foundation of argument that they're laying out right now, to be your authentic self in a fad that is among the most inauthentic in history.
Oh man, yeah, that's a very poignant point here, because your authentic self is who you were born as.
Yes,
I mean that's it, when we talk about gender affirming care and things like that.
Right.
What they mean is affirming your dysphoria, affirming your delusion. As what actual gender affirming care would be is, hey, this is how you were born. This is the body that you live in. You need to learn to accept this. That would be proper gender affirming care. But right now we're saying your the falsehood in which you live, the lies that you tell yourself are not only good, but they are the truth, and we're going to affirm that they're the truth every day.
Yeah, so you're in a mental crisis, emotional crisis, to where your mindset, you believe, doesn't match your physical body.
Doesn't match reality.
So what we have done in the past is say, well, let's address those mental and emotional challenges and pains and obstacles so that we can get you back to a healthy place. What we do now with government endorsement is, well, let's mutilate the body to make it match a mentally ill mind.
And mutilate society.
Yeah.
So that we accept, all of your delusions and affirm you in those delusions.
Right.
It's crazy.
So that's the pattern that I saw.
Yeah.
This is your authentic self. So when you have your kid coming back from college, university, or even public school, high school, when you have your coworkers who are just the lefties, when you have media pundits, when you have people arguing on social media, when you have people over for dinner and they're like, you know what, just let them be who they are. This is where the arguments go. Be prepared for that. There's more at stake than they're wrong and we're right.
Yeah.
It's a much bigger societal picture. So when they now say, listen, let them be themselves, let them live their authentic life, you say, wait a minute, that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
This is the most inauthentic, unhealthy, deadly way that you can live. If you really care about these people, then we will oppose every step of their agenda, every step of the way, and we will harshly push back against the people who want to groom children into doing this to themselves, up to and including imprisoning people who mutilate their bodies.
Yeah.
And the teachers and the school officials and the public officials who are encouraging this should be treated like the guy in the white van saying, hey, kid, you want a piece of candy?
Oh, my gosh. Absolutely. This stuff is we're at the cusp of societal downfall because of things like this. Yeah. This is kind of the tip of this. Well, not even the tip of the spear. We're almost down the whole shaft of the blade here at this point. But we have to push back on this. This is absolutely the hill to die on.
All right, 314-912-1019. Got a lot of comments, a lot of discussion going on Rumble right now in particular. Facebook, Twitter, let us know what you think. Just ahead, how low will these far leftists go? Well, they'll even disrupt the services on the most holy day of the year for some churches.
Mm-hmm.
That happened in New York City. I'll tell you about it just ahead here.
Before you blow us all.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin God.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Get up, get up.
On the next
Larry Connors, USA.
Donald Trump says there's no way President Biden can support the police. His left-wing nuts won't let him.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
My friend, death is certain. Are you prepared? Larry Connors here. I don't want to scare you, but your funeral plans are an important conversation you need to have with your spouse, family, other loved ones. My friend Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial can help find you an affordable, final expense life insurance policy, regardless of your health condition. You could qualify up to $30,000 of lifetime coverage. Life insurance plans with Senior Memorial also offer living benefits towards hearing and diabetic supplies, access to a 24-hour teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones. Call my friend Benjamin at Senior Memorial and discover your legacy at 314-866-8886. Or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
Man, what a great party you're throwing here. This wasp nest is great.
Yeah, man, we got about 70 wasps in here.
Too bad we can't fit any more wasps in here. It looks like they're having fun outside, stinging all the kids. Oh, man, who just pulled up?
Oh, no, it's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They seem to kill every one of my parties.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, walk them, pet them, and care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that, but you can adopt one. There are millions of pets waiting for a best friend just like you. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
The Democrat Party is going to have to go back toward the center.
News, analysis, and opinion.
I've never called a talk show before, but this just irked me.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey, this is Rob Carter. Join me weeknights at 8 p.m. as I challenge our politicians, expose the political press, and analyze pop culture. It's the Rob Carter Show weeknights from 8 to 10 p.m. here on News Talk STL. Now let's get back to the best men's league over 40 backstop in St. Louis. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I love that liner from Rob.
It's great.
My old man baseball season starts this week, by the way.
Yay!
I know. I all the preseason stuff's done.
Okay, so you got to kind of second New Year here.
I've got two games this coming weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them in O'Fallon, Missouri.
Now, you had a game yesterday in South County at Bayless High School, is that right?
Saturday. Yeah, we had a scrimmage, preseason scrimmage.
You showed a photo of that field, and I've driven by Bayless High School who knows how many thousands of times, having lived in South City for 53 years.
Yeah.
And I did not know that gorgeous field was behind the school.
It's behind the
is it the junior high maybe, or the
middle school, the junior high.
All right.
Yeah, because I originally pulled into the high school thinking that's what we had rented, but my guys were going across the street.
Yeah,
and so it was behind the middle or elementary school. They're right across the street from the high school. Went parked in and walked down. I'm like, man, that's a nice field.
Boy, it sure looked gorgeous.
It was really nice.
That's cool.
So well done, Bayless High School. The only question I've got about them, they're the Broncos.
Okay.
But they misspelled the word Broncos.
Oh, no.
They spell it Broncchos.
CH?
It's right there on the field.
Broncos?
Bronchos.
Bronchos. The
I'm like,
Bronchos.
I asked some of the students were there because they were practicing right before us. And I'm like, so is the English department just not that strong in your school? What's going on? I mean, maybe there's some old English spelling of Broncos with an H, but I thought that was really odd. But the field itself was absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Maybe we can get a student or an administrative official to let us know what the deal is.
Gabe's researching now.
I'm looking right now.
I know, I'm telling you.
Apparently, Central Oklahoma has a collegiate team also named the Bronchos. So I have no idea what this is. What is this?
I don't know. All right, how low will left-wing anti-Semites go? Apparently, we still don't know the answer to that, guys.
They are plumbing the depths of inappropriate behavior.
Yep. By the way, we're now in that phase in Missouri of the clock is ticking in the Missouri legislature. Is this renewed hope or false hope for conservatives this year? We've got the update at 7:35. All right, so I was going to grab some audio of this entire incident that happened in New York City. But frankly, the Catholic Easter service was in Latin. It was a Latin mass, which obviously pretty common. And then the protesters were just doing their yelling, and it was one of those big, beautiful, like marble cathedrals. So there was sound bouncing around everywhere.
Well, this is St. Patrick's Cathedral.
Right, this is St. Patrick's Cathedral.
That's a big freaking deal in New York. It really is.
And so what happened is these pro-Hamas ceasefire protesters, right in the middle of their mass on Easter, just got up and walked up on the stage with their big ceasefire sign and started yelling and shouting right in the middle of the service.
Yes.
One of the more disgusting things I've seen. And again, I was going to grab the audio, but honestly, playing it on the radio, you watching it on video is one thing. You can see a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, they did have designated security because it wasn't just parishioners running up there. These are guys who knew what they were doing.
Yeah. These guys with earpieces, I think.
Yeah.
Kind of rolled up.
Yeah, which you have to do anymore. And one of them grabbed the thing, started pulling, and the guy fought back.
Yeah.
And at that point, they got physical with him.
Yes, they did. They said, okay, you're getting out right now.
And they forced him here. So couple questions. One, we could do an entire segment here on how gross these anti-Semites are.
Yes.
We know that already. We know that if you are pro-Palestine, if you are anti-Israel, you're an anti-Semitic bigot. And I know you're saying, well, we're pro-Palestine, we're not pro-Hamas. No, you're pro-Hamas.
Yeah, absolutely.
A friend of mine, Greg Keller, who's, the left hates because he's so good at campaigns and consulting, he refers to them as Holocaust enthusiasts.
The Holocaust enthusiast. Yes, I think that's accurate.
But here's the thing. This is a Latin traditional Catholic mass at St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City. This has nothing to do with the war in Israel, between Israel and Hamas.
What do they think anybody at St. Patrick's Cathedral could do to pressure Israel to stop what they're doing?
That's what their argument is we're going to keep up these events, and that's going to create enough pressure, and people are going to have to, basically, people are going to be harassed by us so much they're going to start calling lawmakers and saying, make this stop, do something, make the ceasefire stop so that these people will stop harassing us.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, three of the people, now there were more than that on the stage, but three of the people are actually charged with a crime now in New York.
Good.
Because apparently they have a law of disrupting a religious service.
I think everybody should have a law like that.
Right. and I know somebody may say, oh, well, wait a minute, doesn't that government? No. That's actually, to me, a pro-First Amendment law.
Yeah.
It says you cannot interfere with somebody's religious expression. Now, you got to write it the right way, and I haven't read the law, but they're actually charged with crimes.
That's good.
So here's the thing. Think about your church right now.
Yeah.
Think about your church.
Yes.
Whatever that is. How would your church respond to people just going up on the platform, going up on the stage, going up on the podium, whatever you've got, with their signs and saying, you're done, now we're taking over? How would they react, and how should churches react?
That's a good question.
Because I think there's a difference most of the time.
Now, I'm imagining this situation because I do this often. I'm among the leadership at our church.
Right.
So whenever these situations come up, I always think, okay, are we ready for this kind of thing? And honestly, we're not. But I do know a lot of the men in our church, and they would get I might be the first to stand up and move. Actually, one of our pastors, who is actually he's a state champion, a collegiate wrestler.
Nice.
So he might get involved himself.
Right.
So we would physically remove them from from the president.
And if they resist?
Well, no, we would physically remove that. It's like there is no resisting. Resistance is futile.
Yeah. So, I mean, whatever church you've got in mind right now, Stel, how would they respond if these morons decided to hijack your service?
Well, one of the main ones that we go to is Grace Church in Maryland Heights, and they are very, very, very much on the edge, the front edge of the political scene.
Yeah, it's a political church.
So,
yeah.
you know, Ron Tucker and Wes Martin and the leadership there, none of those folks are afraid to touch on anything. In fact, Ron had to bite his tongue yesterday to not make any comment regarding what was going on in the news with the Visibility Day transgender thing, because he wanted to keep the service totally focused on the resurrection of Christ. And he made a couple comments during it. You know, I'm trying my best here to keep everything where it needs to be. So he said, wait till next Sunday, and then you'll hear it.
Now, that's a pretty big church.
It is.
Right? So they probably have at least a semi-pro security team.
They have not only a security team, but law enforcement officials are there during the services.
Right.
Okay.
So you would have law enforcement involved. Most churches can't afford that.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I don't know how. I know they're a big church. I don't know how big they are, but I know it's
probably. I would guess in the 2,000 to 3,000 range. They used to average 5,000.
That's a mega church.
That's a mega church.
That's a mega church. Yeah. So they've got a professional security.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
now the other one we attend, Riverbend Calvary Chapel in Washington, Missouri, is much smaller, maybe around 300 or so.
Yeah.
They have local law enforcement folks who are part of the part of the church itself.
Yeah.
So we know they're there. They're not wearing any uniform or anything, but
where Rachel and I go, they have an off-duty U-City police officer sitting in the door just to kind of have a presence. But that's not somebody who's going to be able to, I think, remove a lot of people. But they could call in somebody if need be. I don't know that the church that we go to would actually have the gumption to get physical with people. They should,
really,
but I don't know that they would.
Yeah.
So here's a question: like when they grabbed it, most of the time, what these idiots do is you grab them by the collar, like time to go, then they throw a fit and but they walk out.
Yeah.
But this guy pushed back.
He was
and
pushing
swung,
back.
He
Yeah.
was yanking back. At that point, they should have knocked him the hell out. Is what they should have done. They should have punched him in the jaw and knocked him out.
At that point, I'm thinking, okay, we need a non-lethal means by which to help this whole situation along. So maybe add a taser to the standard equipment for the security.
But
folks.
they should have on the spot dropped him.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's all sorts of patterns like, well, this is a house of God. We can't. No, somebody shows that sort of disrespect, that sort of hijacking, saying you don't get to worship God right now. We're taking over for our political purpose. And our anti-Semitic, anti-Israel ones, they should have dropped those people on the spot in front of all the cell phone cameras, knocked them out, and then just drug them off by the back of their shirt.
Well, that was actually I'm gonna say the one thing I can disagree with that about is that it makes it more difficult to remove them because they're now just a limp body. If you could get control of their head and walk them out, that might be easier.
My sensei says wherever the head goes, the rest of the body goes.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can do that, but you had several up there, and so I think your security team, once they resist, you don't play.
Right.
But I think most churches will not have that approach.
Somebody get the legs.
Yeah, they'll basically, let's try to get them in a headlock. And by the way, putting yourself in more danger of getting hurt. But I think as these things ramp up, this is the approach that should be taken when they're like protesting in a street and blocking traffic, when they're doing all of these things. I think we need to get physical with them faster.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because mommy and daddy, the trust fund babies, who think they're changing the world when they're doing this and they're a part of something, they're going to find out real quick, this is the real world. And I would encourage churches to get a lot tougher on this sort of thing because it's going to happen more often.
And an interesting side note on St. Patrick's Cathedral, there's a local tie-in because Timothy Dolan is the Archbishop, and he oversees St. Patrick's Cathedral.
Oh, yeah.
So, for instance, if you go to their website, you'll see a welcoming message there from Tim Dolan, who is a St. Louis native.
Yeah.
And it would be nice maybe to get him on the show sometime. Who knows? See if he would want to discuss it. He's a great guy to talk to. So, interesting side note that there is a St. Louis connection there.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. Yeah. All right, just ahead here, the Missouri legislature. Countdown is on. State Representative Jim Murphy going to give us the update here right around 7:35.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert meteorologist Leah Hill. A warm and humid afternoon, temperatures in the upper 70s, and we're also watching for rain and storms. Today is a First Alert weather day, tracking really two rounds. The first round in the afternoon, a bit more isolated, those storms, but any severe storms could be capable of producing large hail. And then with the later round of storms, it's a line of showers and thunderstorms that passes through the area that has potential to be strong or severe. Watch for all types of severe weather. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Stand and fight with Nick Schroer.
Hey everyone, this is Nick Schroer from Stand and Fight every Sunday 8 to 10 p.m. If you need tree removal, storm damage, repairs to trees, tree trimming, pruning, if your bushes are out of control, call River City Tree Service. Free quotes right now, 314-270-8071, 314-270-8071. Professional tree services performed by ISA certified arborists. Request your free quote at rivercitytreeservice.com.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
The West Wing playbook, which supposedly covers reporters in the White House, notes that for decades, several have been stealing everything from wine glasses, tumblers, gold-rimmed plates, an embroidered pillowcase. One reporter said, on my first flight, others said, oh, you should take that glass. Everybody does it. Well, it gotten so bad recently, under Biden, a word had to be sent out that reminding you you're not allowed to take items from the jet. It stays on Air Force One. Well, you know the public trust in the media is already bad. Gallup found at least 50% of Americans think the press misleads, misinforms, but steals? That's an entirely different story. And then don't forget the L.A. Times reporting in 2001 that the Clintons, when they were moving out, took a lot of things that they didn't have when they came into the White House. And they said, well, we thought they were given to us as a gift. One wicker table, the manufacturer said, no, I gave it while they were there to stay in the White House. So a lot of it got returned, just a dispute, no big deal. But I still want to know, where is that kitchen sink?
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Pigeons, they are everywhere, and they're very good at dive bombing freshly washed cars. Wellington Environmental reminds you those droppings are more than a nuisance. They can be a major health issue, especially massive droppings on buildings or in parking garages. So who do you call to safely clean it up? You do what many hospitals, universities, public buildings already do. You call Wellington Environmental. Wellington Environmental has been dealing with all kinds of hazards for 35 years. Special people, special skills, special equipment. Wellington gets it done. So to avoid health issues ranging from pigeon droppings to mold to chemical leaks, contact Wellington. 314-644-4930. 644-4930. WellingtonSTL.com. Wellington Environmental. Your world cleaner, better, safer. Be well with Wellington.
Hi, Sean Long from STL Fenceworks. A new fence or deck is an investment in your home and your lifestyle. But how do you ensure that you're getting the most out of that investment? At STL Fenceworks, we know the key is satisfaction. Satisfaction means getting a fence or deck that not only meets your needs, but exceeds your expectations. Satisfaction means working with a team that cares about your project as much as you do. Satisfaction means having confidence in the quality of your new fence or deck, knowing that it was built with the best of materials and workmanship. STL Fenceworks, your satisfaction is our passion. And for me, satisfaction is knowing that providing for your family is how I provide for mine. Visit STLFenceworks.com and experience the satisfaction in making your backyard dreams into a reality.
I heard the call to serve, so I answered. I earned a title and discovered my purpose. I found belonging, an unbreakable bond with my fellow Marines. We fought to overcome adversity together in defense of our nation and its people. I've lived a full life, rich with meaning and And even though I no longer wear the uniform, I am still a Marine. My service has come full circle. I will always look after those around me. I will always uplift and support my country and my community. Because that is the promise I made. That is what it means to be a Marine. Semper Fidelis. Always faithful, always Marine.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Thank you for the opportunity to let me vent here.
Live and local.
Way to be, guys. 1019 all the way.
This is News Talk STL.
I am home.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
All right, yeah, politics has been compared to horse trading, but horse trading's now a matter of horse trading with a deadline in Missouri.
Yeah.
Because we've got that end of the session constitutional deadline. It's not done by this day and this time. It does not happen.
All bills die.
Here we are in April. This happens. The deadline happens in May. We got a countdown going on now. By the way, real quick here. Hey, if you got a newer car, there's a chance you could put the News Talk STL app right on your car.
Whoa.
That's how that works now. New
That's
cars,
cool.
You can program in, obviously, 1019 and 94.1, which we hope that you do on your presets, but you can also put apps right on your phone. You can find our app, download our app right there on your console. And, of course, otherwise, you can put it on your phone and just Bluetooth us.
Mm-hmm.
So look for the News Talk STL app, Android, iPhone, and car as well.
Awesome.
They're everywhere. All right, the last weeks of the Missouri legislative session are underway now. Spring break was, a couple weeks ago, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we're kind of in that countdown to the end of the session, the constitutionally mandated countdown, and we're joined now by State Representative Jim Murphy. Okay, so real quick, Jim, has this been one of those sessions that feels like it's just flown by, or does this seem like you've worked 2 or 3 lifetimes into one session here?
Well, it seems like we treaded water for a long time, and last week we decided to swim.
Yeah.
Boy, we got so much done last week. It's unbelievable in the House. And now it all goes over to the Senate to maybe drown. But, boy, they're going to have their work cut out if they want to catch up.
What would you say is the biggest highlight? Because there were a number of things on there, but what would you say is the thing that you're most proud of out of just the past week or so of all of that list that you're concerned about with the Senate? So those state senators who were listening, you're putting the bug in the ear right now saying, hey, guys, get on this.
Well, let me give you just a quick list of things we did last week. Yeah. We perfected the IP reform bill. We'll get that out to the Senate this week. It goes back to more the original version. It has some talks about not letting non-citizens vote and the like. So that's going to go back to them. The ball's going to be back in their course. I passed out a bill that prevents the city from collecting taxes from people that work outside the city and never come into the city. Of course, the mayor is now going crazy on that,
Mm-hmm.
which is just fine on my in my book. We put a bill forward that says that we're going to put a symbol on our driver's license that says you're a citizen, so that you can't use your driver's license to register to vote if you're not a citizen. We have an election integrity bill in there that really strengthens our elections and requires verifications of signatures. We fixed the Senate Bill 190, which exempts seniors from paying having their taxes continue to grow and grow and grow. So that was a big fix. We passed Valentine's Law, which strengthens the law that that for people that are fleeing the cops and killing people along the way, we put some real punishment into that, and we did it in a bill that will go to the voters that will cap the increase in property tax assessments, cap it at 3%, which is necessary because of the craziness that went through last year when St. Louis County went up 18%. And on top of that, we passed out a phase out of the corporate income tax over a period of time. So, those are just some of the big issues we did, and we did other things too. So now the Senate's got their work cut out for them. Keep up.
Good morning, Jim. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So it sounds like you certainly got a ton of things done, and the way you say it, you've kicked it over to the Senate. So what is there left for you guys to do in the rest of the session?
Oh, well, there's a lot of, I've always said that the big things are the headline makers, but it's the little things that we do that probably go unnoticed, but they're the ones that the citizens bring to us and, require us to get done because it's they help in the local areas. I think there's a whole bunch of that we need to get done, and that's the ones that always get swept under the carpet, but we got plenty of room to do all of that.
Okay, so let me go back to start with the IP reform bill. You basically added back in some of the elements that were stripped out in the Senate. You mentioned, for instance, making sure that only citizens are allowed to vote. The Senate basically sent it over to you and saying, just get in line and just pass what can be passed. Are you worried that we don't get anything done with the IP reform bill this year? I mean, the Senate has time to do it if they want to do it, but the political reality of it, is this something that now the pressure should break through? I mean, Republicans should be uniting to do this. We'll see whether or not the Senate can be functional enough to actually do it.
Well, I'm more worried that the bill that they sent over isn't a bill that we get through the voters. I mean, it doesn't do us any good to put anything on the ballot. We got to put something on the ballot we can pass. The voters aren't going to vote just to take away some of their power. One thing this bill does is restricts how we would, if they put a IP reform on the ballot that was, just in law, not in the Constitution, and that we won't screw with it. It'll take a 4/7 vote of the legislature to overturn anything they put on the ballot. So they get a little something in return. And frankly, I think a straight up one that they sent us probably would never get through the voters. And I don't think we get two bites at this apple. We only get one. And if we don't do it right the first time, we're just not going to get it done.
We had Senator Bill Eigel on the program last week, obviously running for governor, of course, but he's going to take the law that was just passed into place in Florida, kind of duplicate that wording regarding squatters' rights and eliminating so-called squatters' rights. And he thinks that there's an appetite and ability to get something like that done in Missouri this year. What's your read?
Oh, absolutely. I had been looking on putting it on as an amendment on a couple of things. We have a bill in the House. Representative Amato has one that we're looking to fast track through the House also. So, yeah, we absolutely need to do that.
And where do we stand with expanding school choice in any meaningful way, or are we just going to have to settle for whatever Senate leadership's going to let us do this year again?
Well, the Senate passed out a so-called school reform bill, and a good friend of mine, Senator Koenig, headed that up. But frankly, it did very little to expand school choice and gave an awful lot of $380 million back into government schools. I'm not even sure I can support it at this point, but we're going to work on trying to make it better. I just don't see anything meaningful beyond what came over. And frankly, it's not the best bill I've ever seen.
Totally agree with that. Yep.
Good morning, Jim. Stal Ponticus here. Got a question from a listener. Allison on Facebook was wondering, where's the legislation right now controlling Delta 8 type hemp products?
I've not seen it move. Senator Shore has got that on the Senate side. I certainly would be supportive of it if it ever makes it over, but I haven't seen it move at all.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's a weird one. I talked to Nick about that, gosh, I don't know, a week or two ago. I don't remember if it was on the air or not. But I guess there's a version of some kind of hemp-based product that is sold outside of dispensaries, and that's what we're talking about, right?
That's exactly right. And unfortunately, the gas stations, the convenience stores, and so forth have been selling this, and it's become a big part of their profit base. And of course, the marijuana industry says, no, it needs to be controlled. We're the ones that should be selling it. So there's a fight on this, and it's the lobbyists are lobbying against any movement on it. And Nick's got a big fight on his hand, but I think he's right. I think he's absolutely right. But, getting it through the Senate is always a chore, as you are well aware.
Oh, yeah. Well, especially these last couple of years as well. All right, State Representative Jim Murphy, we've tagged you on our social media already. Hey, as we head into the last election, let me just ask you kind of a conceptual question. With Republicans, particularly in the Senate, having so much infighting this year, what's the right messaging? What do you all as a party need to show voters? And what's the right messaging as we head into the primaries and the general elections this year in Missouri for those, frankly, who are frustrated with big red conservative things just not getting done the way that you think they should get done in a supermajority Republican legislature?
Yeah, your votes count. I mean, who you put in the legislature make a big difference. And the House is big enough where we can absorb some of the those that haven't fully come over to the proper side, but the Senate unfortunately is small, and that's where the problems lie, and that's where your votes really count. In those areas that are voting for people that don't see the light need to re-examine what they're voting on.
All right, State Representative Jim Murphy. Hey, good talking to you again, Jim. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Jim.
Hey, thanks again. Have a great day, guys.
You too. All right, 314-912-1019. All right, 805, Transgender Day of Visibility.
Mm-hmm.
We've got more thoughts on this.
Yes.
We've had a lot come in on social media. I want to go back to this because there's just other aspects of this I want to talk about, and I still want to give everybody their chance to have their say on it. Before that, I mentioned we are not doing April Fool's jokes. We're just not.
No.
Do they annoy you?
You know what? They probably, yeah.
Okay.
When I really think about it, yes.
There was a survey done.
Okay,
but I'm curious.
I like the
Have you
surveys.
have you ever had a really good April Fool's prank that'll change my mind on them or not? I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Round 752 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Oh God, where were you?
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com.
I know that you would never have betrayed me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. Agree
I think conservatives have it wrong.
or disagree.
I couldn't agree with you more.
The conversation happens here.
I agree with you on Trump.
I'm shaking my head.
I'm one of your liberal Democratic listeners, and I don't get why any of this even matters.
Because your voice matters.
Everybody told him he couldn't do it, and then he did do it. That's what you got to do. You got to play hardball.
I want to hear what people think and be able to talk about it.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
All right, we've got some storms moving in tonight. How secure is your house? I mean, I actually have driven by a couple houses that actually have the wooden stuff boarded up, especially after that hailstorm. And those are people who need to call my friends at Window World. 314-993-1800. Actually just drove right by the Window World headquarters right here in St. Louis yesterday, right off of I-70 in Earth City. Remember, when you call Window World, yes, is that a brand that's recognized and respected across the country? Yep, but when you call 314-993-1800, you are talking to St. Louisans. This is an office owned by St. Louisans. It is staffed by St. Louisans. It is managed by St. Louisans, and over 72,000 customers in St. Louis have Window World windows, and every one of those windows guaranteed by that lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. So springtime is when a lot of people getting ready to do that spring cleaning, do that project around the house. Don't neglect your windows. I've talked about how those double strength glass windows with that lifetime warranty, generally cheaper than even the inferior windows that you can buy at the home improvement store, cheaper than the ones you'd get online. You know, they are cheaper, and you only have to do it one time, because any other window, you install it, next year that storm goes through or whatever, then you have to go do it all over again, or you have to do it when they wear out 5 or 10 years down the road. Not with Window World. 314-993-1800. That's the number to call. Have that in-home estimate. Let them show you what they can do, because they will actually let you stand on top of the window, literally. They don't just stand behind them. They'll stand on top of them, and they'll let you. I have stood on top of these windows. I weigh over 200 pounds. I stood on top of the window, didn't even budge. That's how strong these things are. And that window is in somebody's house right now, and it is guaranteed by that lifetime guarantee, that lifetime warranty. And not only that, is that these are so energy efficient, they have already surpassed the thermal efficiency of the brand new Energy Star 7 program. So you're going to save money on your air conditioning and heating throughout the year. WindowWorld.com is where you learn more, but you can give a call today at 314-993-1800. Window World is the preferred window of the St. Louis Blues.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
All right, honest question here. Does anyone actually like April Fool's Day anymore?
I don't know anybody who's really ginned up and excited about that.
You know, in all the years I've been in radio, and it's been a few, it used to be a lot of fun back in the day, but then about, 10 years or so ago, it fell off the edge of the table.
Yeah, it's gotten like kind of weird. Of course, on social media, all the pranks videos that these content creators want to do, I think are just dumb. But apparently there's a few people who really like April Fools. If you're one of them, let me know. And what's the best April Fool's prank that you are either a part of, or you did, or you witnessed, or you were a victim of? I'm really curious. We got a couple minutes here. Give your thoughts on that. By the way, how was your Transgender Day of Visibility observance? Did you show the proper respect to the left's religion? They didn't show respect to yours, but did you show respect to theirs? Let's talk about that at 8:05. By the way, Ed on Rumble here, what you just wrote is what I'm going to lead off with at 8:05.
Okay.
Very good comment right there. Okay, so just remember, we're not doing April Fool's pranks on this show.
No.
It's not like I'm not taking a bold stand. It's not a prince. I just don't care. It's not 1987 anymore. I mean, it's just, who cares?
I don't think in this room, I don't think any of us like really find it entertaining.
I don't.
Even, right?
Nor do our lawyers.
That's right. I mean, I've heard of some, back in the day, back in the 80s and 90s, the radio DJs would do the funny thing and they'd call somebody and make up an outlandish story.
Yeah. And then
oh, we got you.
Yeah, and then they play a slide, which whoop, we got you. Yeah, but
I think the dumbest one I saw is they called a small town radio station somewhere. I'm driving through rural Missouri. I don't remember where it was. And they'd called a McDonald's and said, I lost my teeth. They fell off. Can you check? And they had some poor guy digging through the trash on the phone. Like, this is so-and-so from the radio station. We got you.
Yeah,
the guy was not amused.
No.
Okay, so there was a new survey, and you can find it. Where was it? I don't know. But 46% of people in America say they find April Fool's Day's pranks amusing. 40% say they're annoying.
Okay.
So there's no majority of Americans who are all aboard this right here.
They're split.
So here's the thing. Let's see here. 54% of people say they have played an April Fool's Day prank on someone. 65% of people say someone's played a prank on them.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. If you got today on April 1st, kind of your own fault. This is the day where you don't believe anything anybody says.
Right.
So, guys, don't propose to your gal today.
Yeah,
she's not going to believe you.
What are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Hey, actually, is that why it's not a big deal anymore? Is because we've been trained not to believe anything we see on the internet, period, anyway?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we've got basically nobody believes anybody anyway.
Fake.
Yeah, fake news, man. Picture didn't happen. Well, maybe it's AI pic. I don't believe you.
Photoshop.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, today should be the Transgender Day of Visibility because it's April Fool's Day.
Exactly.
But they decided to do that on Easter. So let's talk about that right around 8:04.
Atheist. I really am a liberal, but I'm also a conservative.
No matter your side,
I'm a Democrat. I'm just a bit angry, frustrated conservative.
no matter your inclination,
I'm probably a liberal, maybe more in the middle.
we are here for your place to talk about it.
I'm the progressive liberal Democrat that you said is afraid to call you.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
I'm sure we'll have a robust conversation.
News Talk STL.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
Katie here, and I'd like to talk to you guys about Michael's Flooring Outlet. You could gain peace of mind with Michael's Flooring Outlet for your flooring and carpet installation needs. Their team of experts ensures that the job is done right the first time, providing you with attentive and a personalized service. Just like my parents, you can trust them to replace your old carpet with beautiful hardwood flooring. Visit one of their 3 locations in Dardenne Prairie, St. Peters, or Creve Coeur, or check them out at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from Town Hall, Qatar. Anna Thomason. After 2 weeks, Israel's military has pulled out of Gaza's largest hospital, touting success in an anti-terror operation.
Hundreds of people returned to Shifa Hospital and the surrounding area after the withdrawal early Monday, where they found bodies inside and outside of the facility. The military has described the raid as one of the most successful operations of the nearly 6-month war, saying it killed scores of Hamas and other militants, as well as seizing valuable intelligence. The head of the World Health Organization said late on Sunday that 21 patients at least had died during the raid, and more than 100 were in dire conditions. I'm Charles Dilatesma.
Tens of thousands of demonstrators took to the streets of Israel over the weekend, demanding the resignation of Prime Minister Netanyahu, also demanding that more be done to win the release of hostages still being held by Hamas in Gaza. There is a new minimum wage law on the books in California.
Most of California's fast food workers are set to be paid at least $20 per hour. The increase has been cheered by workers and labor unions who say it will provide a livable wage. But some business owners say it will cause them to raise their prices or lay off workers in a state already known for its high cost of living.
Correspondent Greg Clugston. Less than a week after a container ship brought down Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge, crews operating the heaviest of equipment are working to clear the Baltimore Harbor Channel of tons of wreckage, steel, and concrete. Maryland Governor Wes Moore says it's crucial to reopen the key port of Baltimore, rebuild the bridge, and to conduct a thorough and speedy investigation of the catastrophe. On Wall Street, ahead of this morning's opening bell, the Dow futures 11 points higher. NASDAQ futures are up 45 points, and the S&P futures better by 8 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Relief factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
This is Dennis Prager, and now a truly exciting new benefit. My monthly online video get-together for Pragertopia Plus members only. For an hour each month, get an exclusive chance to ask me anything. I'll be answering your questions. I've never done this. Submit your questions for me at Pragertopia.com. This is our chance to connect like never before. Go to Pragertopia.com or click the banner at Dennis Prager.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert meteorologist Leah Hill. A warm and humid afternoon, temperatures in the upper 70s, and we're also watching for rain and storms. Today is a First Alert weather day, tracking really 2 rounds. The first round in the afternoon, a bit more isolated, those storms, but any severe storms could be capable of producing large hail. And then with the later round of storms, it's a line of showers and thunderstorms that passes through the area that has potential to be strong or severe. Watch for all types of severe weather. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Senior Memorial. Give Benjamin Schaefer a call at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
The U.S. Submarine Force is known as a silent service. As a 20-year naval submarine officer, I can no longer stay silent about what is going on in our schools. Hello, I'm Sam Young, and I'm running for the Francis House School Board. The local NEA supports candidates who push sexual indoctrination and political activism in our schools. Let's go ahead and torpedo that. Instead, we need to focus on academic excellence, promote traditional values of hard work and meritocracy, and remove radical activism. Vote for veteran Sam Young on April 2nd. Paid for by Citizens for Sam Young, Joanne Lockhart, Treasurer.
Are you fed up with paying too much for lightning-fast doctor visits with too little information? Well, I was too, and decided to create an alternative. Hi, it's Dr. Randy Tobler here, asking you to take a look at no copay, no deductible visits with me and my team. That's Body of Health Direct Primary Care. Let's face it, the system's broken. No respect for your money or your time. So learn about a better way for your primary care. Schedule your discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com, shepherding you to medical freedom.
Mike Ferguson.
We the people.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
It's not rocket science. Rocket science.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
I really wasn't planning on just responding to the left's latest outrage through a lot of the show today.
Mm-hmm.
The slap in the face that the Biden administration and the far left apologists all around the area, including here in St. Louis, just went over the top. I mean, they went over the top when it comes to finding a way to stick the needle in the eye of conservative Christians.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way I can really look at this transgender day of visibility nonsense that happened. All right, 8:05 right now, 314-912-1019. By the way, let me scroll up a little bit because I promised that what Ed wrote on Rumble, I was going to lead off with. He said, just imagine if Trans Day or Alphabet Soup something was declared on the first day of Ramadan.
Oh boy. Yeah.
They wouldn't do that.
No, not at all.
So here's the general argument that they're making. One, this trans nonsense has become essentially part of the left's religion.
Yes. And the Biden administration has kind of made it part of the religion of the country.
Right. He tried to use religious terminology in his social media post. You know, you're made in God's image. Apparently, you just wanted to mutilate it.
Right.
But here's the thing is that this Trans Day of Visibility, I think I said visibility.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly had not heard about this until today.
No, well, yeah.
It's been around since like 2009. Some dude who walks around in a dress started it, apparently.
Yes.
And so
that one tweet on Twitter, by the way, described as he's a gorgeous person.
No.
He kind of looks like Penguin from Batman Returns in the 1990s.
Yeah, the Danny DeVito. Yes.
Yeah. Kind of looks like that.
He really does.
Yes.
And
But
so imagine
the left says gorgeous though.
Yeah. So imagine that dude in a dress.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at.
Yes. A little taller.
And of course, you saw a bunch of leftist apologists and a few people on the right are like, well, let's be reasonable here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be upset about it, but don't get mad that it's on Easter.
Like, did you just actually me?
They did actually because what they're saying is that this leftist observance has been on March 31st since it started.
Right.
So this year it happened to be on Easter.
Yes.
And here's the thing.
It is coincidental, but
correct. So that part's accurate.
Yes.
But how much did they ramp it up this year compared to other years? And you're telling me the variable of being on Easter didn't have anything to do with that?
Yeah, think back to March 31st of 2023. Did we see this level of engagement when it comes to the Trans Day of Visibility? Did you even note it in your parlance?
I follow the news for a living. I track the left for a living. I didn't even know this was a thing on a calendar anywhere. I had no idea.
Yep. And that's in spite of the fact that the Biden White House has been acknowledging it since they got into office in 2021.
Yeah, the Biden administration is the only presidential administration to issue proclamations. Because I over the weekend, I looked up the archives of the White House proclamations, and they didn't start on this until 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
Yeah.
Now, the fact that it was on Easter, if they had just done the same thing they did before, there would still have been some outrage. And then probably the conversation would have settled into, well, it's kind of just coincidence, correlation. That's only going to happen once every 7 years or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what would have happened, or once every 8 years, or whatever the math turns out to be. But that's not what the left wants.
No.
They wanted that to overshadow Resurrection Sunday, Easter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, to some degree what happened.
Absolutely. And if you look at what was trending and what was being discussed, every prior year, Easter was, at the very least, you got Easter bunnies and Easter egg hunts and kids just having fun with that idea. Pastel colors all around.
Sure, yeah.
Right? That, at the very least, the secularized version of Easter was acknowledged across America. But now, not even that.
No.
Now the main thing that was trending everywhere was this Trans Day of Visibility.
The Biden administration had top officials make videos that were posted on Easter Sunday on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Their proclamation and their social media post for this far outweighed what they put on Easter. This is part of the left's religion.
Yes.
Okay. So let's look at different ways. I mean, I could just say, let's throw fuel on the Rage Mod fire.
Sure.
I think that was done yesterday, and it should have been done. Actually,
yes.
I'm not.
It was worthy of rage.
I don't have any issue with the rage mob aspect of it. Most of the time, when I say rage mob, I'm saying, okay, let's do something more constructive. There should have been a massive pushback.
Yes.
Because what's happening right now is that the left is trying to take over something that is Christian.
Yes.
And I saw some comments like, listen, I'm LGBT Christian, and I'm okay. Really?
Yeah, let's not even go there.
Let's not even go there. But what you've got here is the left wanting to run out some of the foundational beliefs of our society.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Society.
Yes.
And Judeo-Christian ethos are absolutely written into the foundations of our country. I'm not saying we have a national religion, but Judeo-Christian ethos are massive foundational parts. That's not even a debatable statement. Even the founding fathers, who were deists, recognized that Judeo-Christian ethos were necessary to a free republic.
And arguably, it's foundational to pretty much all of Western society post-Constantine.
Yeah.
So it's been part of it forever.
So what's under attack by the left right now? Judeo and Christian.
Yeah. Look at that.
Because 835 will talk about the latest low-level protest that happened in opposition to Israel. But for right now, we'll get to the attack on the Judeo part. Right now, let's talk about the attack on the Christian part.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of those prone to hyperbole on this. I'm not everything that a leftist does is an attack on Christianity.
Sure.
Sometimes they're just wrong and bad.
Sure. Yeah.
Sometimes it's they reject it for themselves and they have bad policies and bad social takes, and it is what it is.
It's kind of inherent to leftism, isn't it?
Right. Because I care so much about my Christian faith, I don't want the government to run it.
Right.
Right. So what we have right here, though, is an attack on that basis, not just of community, not just on the religious, the Christian community, what there is of it, but an attack on the family units within Christendom.
Yes.
And that's what we're seeing on the left. And it is aggressive. It is a warfare mindset, and it is designed to destroy it in this country.
Now, I can say, though, I did observe trans day visibility on some level by perusing a list on social media presented by Libs of TikTok.
Yes, this was brilliant on their part. Can you go take over, take the wheel, take the wheel.
So Libs of TikTok said, okay, hey, all of the transy people out there, all of you want us to acknowledge you, to see you. Well, I see you. Here are all the people that I see who are committing horrible acts against people in our society. So in one post, there's a description of a trans person who burned down a 117-year-old church in Portland.
Right.
Named and the charges listed and all that other stuff. Let's see. 5 innocent people who lost their lives when an LGBTQ terrorist shot up a club in Colorado Springs. There was,
Nashville shooter.
There's the Nashville shooter. Snokia Mosley was a trans terrorist who murdered 3 people at a warehouse in Aberdeen, Maryland. I hadn't even heard about that one.
Nope.
So here, and listen up there. 11-year-old Amir Joliffe was brutally murdered when a transgender terrorist shot up his school in Perry, Iowa.
That's right. That was just about a month and a half, 2 months ago.
Yeah, and let's see. Here's another one. Trans teen pleaded guilty to murder. Ash Cooper, previously Joshua Cooper, just pled guilty to murdering a 12-year-old girl. So hey, trans people, we see you.
Yeah,
and not only that, but part of the reason why all this pushback is coming is because we see what you're doing in our schools too. Right. We see what you're doing to our kids. We see all of these push for the all ages drag shows filled with sex toys and naked butt cheeks shaking around in the streets. We see you wanting to get into libraries and with your drag times or drag queen story hour or whatever, sitting little children on your lap while these convicted sex offenders read stories to children. We see you. That's the problem.
And we're keeping an eye on you.
And
we're pushing back.
Yeah.
And we're not apologizing for that. Do I think every person who is gender confused is a murderer? Of course not.
No.
That's not what we're saying.
No.
But we are saying that this is a mental illness.
Yes.
We're saying that something is not right. And so what you're wanting us to affirm is actually something really destructive and unhealthy. And the only people who care about the people who are going through this are the ones who are saying, we need to get you the mental health help that you need to get through this and get over it. Affirming it means you love the ideology. You don't give a crap about the person.
Yeah, I mean, because really, when you look at the granted, not all trans people are going to be murderers and killers and all these other things, but there seems to be a high percentage rate. Right? In the same way that there's a really, really high percentage rate of suicides among the trans people, regardless of how many people in their circles accept them. The numbers don't change one way or the other. So here we are with a mental health crisis where people have shown that this particular mental health disorder makes people a danger to themselves and others. That used to be a criteria for hospitalizing people and putting them away because they are a danger to themselves
or
and
immersing
others.
them in treatment.
Immersing them in treatment. Well, that's what I mean. Putting them away in a treatment facility, some place where they have to go through the steps of reconciling their mind with reality.
Yeah, and again, if you're an adult, my opinion, you guys may disagree. If you're an adult, live however you want.
Oh, I'm fine with it.
You can be as destructive to your own life as you want to be.
Sure.
But what you don't get to do is redefine the world for us and force me to accept your rejection of reality.
Yes.
So when the Biden administration, when Tashara Jones, when Cori Bush, when J.B. Pritzker, when all of these go out of their way to take Resurrection Sunday and push it out in favor of the Transgender Day of Visibility, when they say Easter, sure, whatever, hey, I see a tranny day. That's more important. This is intentional, and this is showing you who they are. And you've got a choice to make come election time. But in the meantime, you've also got a choice to make in how you are going to respond to it, how you are going to rear your kids, how you're going to prepare your kids, how you're going to talk to your coworkers or saying, just it's not a big deal, just let them do their thing. Okay, let them do their thing as their adult, but they're not letting us do our thing. This is an attack on some of the most basic foundations of our family structure, of our communities, and of our society at large when you go back to that Judeo-Christian ethos. And again, I'm using academic and philosophical terms. I'm not saying government should be forcing anybody's religion.
Right.
But the ethos, academically speaking, that's where Western civilization's ethos, that's what they were built on. That's what's being attacked right now. And we need to be strong enough to not accept it, push it back, take back the narrative, and relegate this sort of mental illness back to the fringe where it belongs.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Hate mail, agreeing, whatever. 314-912-1019. Mike at newstalkstl.com.
Gabe at newstalkstl.com.
Happy to engage.
Yes, let us know.
Love to do it on the radio. 314-912-1019. This is 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin car. Get up. Hey, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Never paint again with Rhino Shield. Listen to what a couple of happy customers have to say.
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted. Our building was really faded. You came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
What a wonderful job they did. It's beautiful. They were very thoughtful, kind, considerate guys. Appreciate all the work that these two young men did.
Call Rhino Shield, 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
No paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert every Saturday morning at 9 right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Live and local.
Well, here's what's on my mind. I think I got the solution to immigration.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
Hey, it's Joe Pags. Catch me tonight, but right now, back to more of Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks.
The morning news dump.
All right, Republican majority in the U.S. House just about gone. Another one's leaving. So, sure, why not have more factionalism in there? Also, how low will anti-Semitic leftists go in their protest? Well, we don't know how low it's going to be, but they may have hit one of the new lows on Sunday, on Easter. And I know that this is going to surprise a lot of people, but the bullpen blew a game for the Cardinals.
No,
I know.
man.
Wait till we get to there. Wait till we get to the news story. I'm just saying. I know. All right. Governor Wes Moore out of Maryland says the conditions remain unsafe for divers regarding the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse. Weather is a factor at the moment up in New England, but he also says debris from that wreckage, either it's not secure in some areas or it's just in places that make it really difficult and dangerous for divers to get down and salvage both things that need to be salvaged on the bridge and from the ship, and, of course, obviously, the remains of the workers who were thrown into the waters. Now, there were 56 containers with hazardous materials on the Dali, D-A-L-I, the ship. 13 of those 56 of those containers were destroyed. And we're talking 13 hazardous material containers were destroyed in that entire wreck. Governor Moore was on Fox News Sunday talking about the updated recovery efforts.
This is a remarkably complex operation. We know this is going to be a long road to recovery, but we know that we have to move with safety and we have to move with speed in order to get our commercial engine going again. Okay,
so 8 construction workers were thrown into the waters during that collapse. They have recovered the bodies of 2, 4 obviously presumed dead. 2 actually were rescued, which was just absolutely amazing to me. All right, in Washington, D.C., looks like I think the House is going to come back into work maybe later this week. I think it's next week. They're on a recess right now. Congressman Mike Gallagher, a Republican out of Wisconsin, is leaving Congress this month. Another one's leaving. That's going to shrink the GOP majority down to 217 seats, which means that the Republicans can lose basically one vote on a partisan vote now. That's all. That's it.
Oh, man.
One person votes the other way or abstains. Okay, they can get away with it. 2, nope, they're going to lose.
Oh, man.
Even though technically they have the majority. House Speaker Mike Johnson was on Sunday Night in America with Trey Gowdy on Fox, and he says, you know what? That means that they need to start shoring up some of this factionalism within the GOP.
We have to stand together, because when we do that, especially with a razor-thin majority as we have, we'll have better negotiation in the back room. We'll be able to have greater standing when we argue with the Democrats about it.
Okay, so that's correct, but you can't make that an excuse to tell those who are principled, hey, give up your principles. Now, you can say, okay, we got to negotiate here, but we still have the majority, so you do have to do that. But at the same time, you can't also equip the fringe element into just crashing and burning everything around. So since the whole thing happened with McCarthy, since the weeks went by with no speaker, the Republicans' negotiating position has been greatly weakened.
Yeah.
So Mike Johnson's in a no-win situation right now, and he's got a faction that's basically trying to cut him off at the knees because he's not passing a purity test.
Would you call this remaining portion of his administration over the majority kind of like a lame duck sort of period?
Well, if the Republicans somehow hold on to the majority in the House, no, because then if the Republicans have a good year this year, then he'll have a little bit of breathing room with the votes. But it is entirely possible the Republicans lose the House.
Yeah.
So in that sense, maybe it might be lame duck. Okay, a Missouri lawmaker sponsoring a bill that would allow police anywhere in the state to stop, inspect around the car, and detain drivers to see if their temporary tags are actually legitimate.
I hate this.
Yeah.
I hate it so much.
Now, first of all, they can pull you over if the tags are expired.
Yeah.
They can do that. That's a perfectly legal, legitimate reason to pull you over. So this kind of expands that. Republican Brad Pollitt says the state's losing tens of millions of dollars a year in sales and property taxes because people aren't completing the registration process after buying a car. When it comes to the state's not getting their tax money, I don't care. He also, though, admits, and I saw this on Missouri Net, he admits that part of his bill likely violates the Fourth Amendment. So he says he is going to amend it soon because you can't just give blanket cops, you have any reason whatsoever to pull somebody over for no reason and detain people for any reason and search and inspect cars for any reason. We do have a constitution for a reason.
The idea that a Republican lawmaker just happened to stumbled into a violation of an amendment feels a little wrong to me.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just saying. But why can't they just leave it alone? Let the current regime of temp tags expire, because the law already on the books is going to make these things irrelevant. And anybody left with a temp tag, is expired, because they're going to go away.
What's going to happen is you're buying a car and then you pay the taxes on the spot.
Up front.
You get the tags on the spot.
Yeah.
The temp tag things are going away, and everybody driving around with expired temp tags, all you're doing is adding to your fees, adding to your penalties. If you're worried about the state's money, if that's how you look at good and bad, whether or not the state gets more money, they're coming out ahead on this in the end.
Yeah.
And so that's where that's at. Just don't create more reasons to create conflict between law enforcement and people.
I even spend time on
you
this.
You can get pulled over, and you will get pulled over eventually for having a temp tag.
Yeah.
Just saying. All right, the Biden administration's push for electric vehicles hitting a few speed bumps, and part of that speed bump is called the free market that's smacking them in the face.
More than 2 years after President Biden signed the infrastructure bill into law, only 4 states have opened public EV charging stations funded by the legislation. The president has set a goal of creating a national network of 500,000 chargers by the end of the decade. Right now, 175,000 are available. Meanwhile, Ford Motor Company will drastically cut the number of hourly workers at its factory that builds the Ford F-150 Lightning as sales of EVs slow. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Okay, when he's talking about those 500,000 EV charging stations, okay, you know what he's talking about? Publicly built ones.
Yeah, publicly funded.
If there's a market for these, they will be built within the market.
Yes, because people could make money off of them.
Right.
Conceivably.
Yes.
But nobody can make money off of these things.
No.
I'm aware of gas stations who've put them in, and they still have not made the money back for the infrastructure that it took to install those things in the first place.
They should be going to the EV manufacturers saying, you want us to offer these because that makes it easier for you to market them? Hey, you come build them.
Yeah, but
Just
of
saying.
course, since nobody wants these things, the automakers are downsizing their production lines.
Right.
In spite of the administration's push to have a larger percentage of them included in their offerings.
The free market, at least right now, still bigger than what the government's doing. The government can land a kidney punch to the free market, but the free market still decides what it's going to do. All right, there's a growing rift, as we know, between the United States and Israel as IDF forces get ready for that operation in southern Gaza. Republican Senator Rick Scott was on Fox News Sunday. He says the Biden administration are the ones who need to change their tune right now.
I want the Biden administration to start talking about the fact we have American families been held hostage in Gaza by Hamas, and we have Israeli families. What is Biden doing to get those out?
We are now seeing some Democrats demanding President Biden withhold aid to Israel if Israel doesn't limit civilian casualties, which, by the way, if Israel didn't care about civilian casualties, there would basically be a big parking lot where all the Palestinians used to be. Yeah. And, of course, there is that rift between Israel and the United States because our administration, the administration's ambassadors, stabbed Israel in the back. That's what happened.
Yep. That UN vote is still, I think, big in the minds of the Israelis right now.
As it should be.
As it should be.
By the way, just how bad are some of the anti-Semitic protesters here in the United States? It got to a new low on Sunday. I'll tell you about that in just a minute. Okay, so the Blues host the Oilers tonight at the Enterprise Center. That's an 8 o'clock game. Mathematically, the Blues are not eliminated from the playoffs yet. It does not look good, though.
Yeah. Yes.
They got an 8-point deficit. They got to make up in 8 games.
Oh, my gosh.
So everything would have to go right.
Yeah.
And I would be surprised if they get into the wild card.
It's only a matter of time before the wild card spot is out of reach.
Yeah, I think so. All right, the Cardinals play the Padres tonight at 8:40. Bally's got that game. Cardinals lost to the Dodgers 5-4 last night. Gave up a couple of home runs in the 8th inning to blow a lead. Cardinals are 1-3 on the year.
Mama said, fulfill the prophecy, be something great. Go make a legacy, manifest destiny. Back in the days, we wanted everything.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Mama said, don't give up, it's a little complicated.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert meteorologist Leah Hill. A warm and humid afternoon, temperatures in the upper 70s, and we're also watching for rain and storms. Today is a First Alert weather day. Tracking really two rounds. The first round in the afternoon, a bit more isolated, those storms, but any severe storms could be capable of producing large hail. And then with the later round of storms, it's a line of showers and thunderstorms that passes through the area that has potential to be strong or severe. Watch for all types of severe weather. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Arps News Commentary.
Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison blames car manufacturers for tempting young people into theft. You can't make this stuff up. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
The U.S. is experiencing a car theft epidemic, and sadly, a lot of it comes at the sticky hands of our nation's youth. But Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison knows exactly who's to blame: car manufacturers. No kidding. AG Ellison firmly believes that punishing thieves, thugs, and degenerates is not the answer. Instead, he puts the burden on car manufacturers, saying it is the responsibility of those auto manufacturers to make sure their cars are not tempting thieves. Ellison laments how easy it is to steal certain makes and models of vehicles, and that those automakers need to do a better job so their cars aren't so attractive for theft. Yeah, that's what it is, Keith. These young thugs are just walking around, minding their business, probably saving kittens and whatnot, and then all of a sudden they see a car that's easy to jack, and that's what turns them into thieving criminals. What a joke. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show Tommy Lahren is Fearless at Outkick.com.
Springtime in St. Louis means one thing. That's right. Golf is back, baby. Whether you're a beginner or a scratch golfer, you're sure to enjoy your golf experience at Sugar Creek Golf Course. Sugar Creek is a scenic and challenging course and well-suited to golfers of all abilities. Located in High Ridge, just 10 minutes from 270 and Gravois. At Sugar Creek Golf Course, our courteous and professional staff has one goal: to make sure your golf experience is enjoyable. To book your tee time or to learn more about the special event and banquet facilities, simply visit sugarcreekgolfcourse.com.
Tim Jones here. The anniversary of last year's April 15th hailstorm rapidly approaching. Let my friends at Eureka Contracting and Roofing inspect your roof for storm damage prior to the one-year insurance deadline. They'll evaluate your damage to determine if the loss is insurable. If it is, they'll walk you through the entire insurance claim process just like they did for us. Your only out-of-pocket cost will be your deductible. Plus, having your roof inspected before the spring storm season will give you peace of mind before the next big storm hits. Call Eureka Contracting and Roofing, 636-938-ROOF, 636-938-ROOF, eurekacontracting.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Thanks for taking my call.
Right here.
My point about the governor there, it is absolutely about power.
I read this, I almost fell out of my chair.
News Talk STL.
This thing is just absolutely dripping with iron.
News, analysis, opinion.
Hello, morning people. Tony Colombo and Katie Fitzpatrick here.
Thanks for listening to Mike Ferguson in the Morning here on News Talk STL. And don't forget to join us today at 2 for Colombo and Katie.
See you then.
When the lights go down in the city.
Okay, do I do this topic at 8:50 or not? I could. People might get mad at me. Should
Oh.
I do it?
Well, if people can get mad at you, I'm all for it.
Yeah, of course you are.
Because it wouldn't be the first time.
Of course you are.
And it won't be the last time.
No.
Mike at News Talk STL.
That's right. Well, somebody did this survey where it's like, what are the most overrated tourist attractions around the country? And I thought, okay, that's interesting. I'll tell people about that.
Sure.
But what are the most overrated touristy St. Louis things?
Like specifically St. Louis.
Yeah,
things.
like it's like the culture of St. Louis says you should be telling people about this.
Right.
But we here in St. Louis are like, been there, done that. Not a big deal.
Right.
You know, what's the overrated thing? What are the things like when your family comes in town and they're like, hey, I heard about this, and you go, nah, don't. Okay, I mean, I can think of one or two.
Yeah.
Not just tourist attractions, just like St. Louis things.
Okay, all right.
So do I make people mad by talking about that at 8:50?
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
I do that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
I will join you in making somebody mad. I'm going to say something very, very controversial, I think, at 8:50.
Okay, so in the meantime, let me know. You can send us a message on social media, 8:50. You can call me at 314-912-1019. And let me know, what are the St. Louis things that are maybe overrated? Okay.
All right.
All right. We'll do that in just a little bit. 8:37 right now. All right. We were talking a little bit earlier about the foundations of our nation. When I talk about the foundation, I'm talking about the mindset, the philosophy that went into everything from the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the founding documents of this country, then related the founding documents of the 50 states. They were all, as is pretty much all of Western civilization. You can look at the Scottish Enlightenment. You can look at, all of these, that there is some element of Judeo-Christian ethos involved. Now, I'm using kind of academic type philosophical terms. I'm not talking about a government running a religion or anything like that. Matter of fact, the freedom of religion is a Judeo-Christian ethos.
Yes.
So somebody says, "Oh, do you want people to be free to be Muslims?" Yes, that is the freedom, protecting your freedom to have a religion that I disagree with is a Judeo-Christian ethic.
Right.
And so that's what I'm talking about when I say that. So when you look at the hard left and they're just attacks on these Judeo-Christian ethos, which is what we saw with this Transgender Day of Visibility, and yesterday on Easter in New York City at St. Patrick's Cathedral.
Yes, that's the cathedral.
Right.
That's New York Church, basically.
Right. I mean, I'm not Catholic, but I mean, I've toured the Basilica. It's gorgeous, but what happened is some of these pro-Hamas protesters, the same type of people that like shut down the Del Mar Loop when they get all frisky. The same type of people who, started screaming, anti-Semitic chants from the river to the sea and the St. Louis County government. These type of decrepit people, they hijacked and took over the Sunday, Easter, Resurrection Sunday Mass at St. Patrick's in New York. They said, you will not worship the way you see fit. You will not continue to worship. We are commandeering your Mass.
Yes.
And that's what they did for a few minutes. And then it got physical on that stage.
Yeah.
And they had to physically remove these pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas protesters who thought that they have some sort of right to take over a church service and say, you're not allowed to do what you want to do with your religious gathering.
St. Patrick's Cathedral is the most important religious structure in New York. It is. It's point blank. That's it. And Easter is the most important day on the Christian religious calendar. So they knew exactly what they were doing.
Sure.
They were going for the biggest hit that they could in New York. Remember the last time the pro Islamic terrorist types went for the biggest hit in New York? Anyway, but they wanted to do this in order to force people, to make everybody so uncomfortable, and in order to make everybody just so done with dealing with them that we finally give in to their demands. They're not looking for solidarity. They're not actually looking for you to change your mind. They're just looking to bother you into action.
Right.
That's it's basically it's the 3 to 6 year old tantrum type of technique. Instead of when you're like 12 or 13, you're trying to convince mom and dad for things. It's like, hey, let me tell you about the benefits of pet ownership because I want a puppy.
That's right.
As opposed to you're walking through PetSmart and you see a little kitty in the little box and you throw yourself on the ground bodily and flail around screaming, trying to embarrass the crap out of your mom. That's what's happening right now. They're not trying to convince us of anything. They're just trying to bother us into giving up, whatever we can to them.
And when something that sacred to, for instance, in this case, that's sacred to Catholics, is just a stepping stone and a litter box for your activism. What that shows is that is an attack on those people, that group of people's faith.
Oh, yeah.
So I've got the question here. Picture your church, whether you go every Sunday or whether you are what my dad would call an Easter lily and a Christmas poinsettia.
Right.
Meaning you show up on Easter and Christmas and that's about it.
That's the only time you bloom.
Yeah, the only time you bloom. Whether you're one of those or whether you go every week or somewhere in between, picture your church. How would your church respond to these left-wing, anti-Semitic activists taking over your church service?
Yeah.
How would they react? Because what happened is their security team was up there within seconds.
Oh yeah, it was good. Their response was nice.
Grabbing the big
banner.
poster that they had, banner, and then, but interestingly, that guy fought back. He yanked back, and he was ready.
He's ready to tussle.
They're used to people once there's any pushback. People like, okay, well, I won't get in a fight with these people. They were physically removed. It got physical.
Yes.
As it should have. Now, I think they should have been more aggressive. I think that the good guys, the security there, should have gone to blows immediately and knocking them down and into submission to end any sort of threat of a fight so that they don't get hurt. I don't care if these pro-Hamas protesters get hurt. I just don't care. But how would your church handle that? Because at some point, this could happen at your church. And if you're in a big enough church, it's going to happen. They know that they're not going to get to stay up there through the whole service, but how aggressive will your church be in dealing with it?
If you've got a neighborhood church that you go regularly to, like I do, you have your seat, right? He's like, this is where I'm going to be and you have your view of the whole, building. You know the people. You know the people well enough. He's like, oh yeah, there's Jim over there. He's a volunteer firefighter, and there's Billy back here. And he plays football at the high school right now, so he's in his big phase right there. So you know the people who you could rely on if something went down.
Right.
You know them already.
But if you're not organized, and they are, it's going to get ugly.
It could get ugly really quickly.
The St. Patrick's Day security team took control.
Yes.
But they pushed back and struggled back because I think they assume, well, these religious people aren't going to actually use violence against them.
Right.
Against us.
Yeah. But except these weren't just parishioners. I mean,
these were professionals.
They saw a guy in a suit. It's like, oh, look, a parishioner's just coming. No. That's security.
Yep.
you missed the earpiece.
Yep. They had the earpiece and had the little pin on his suit.
Yeah.
So that was a professional job, and they got him out of there pretty quick. Now, it's a really big church.
Yeah.
So it took them a few minutes to get them out there, and everybody had their cell phones up. And so they had their argument, or they had their thing that was going on. It took longer than it should have, but that's just because it's a big thing. Their security moved very quickly.
Yes.
Is your church ready?
Yeah, that's a big question, especially because most churches are small. Most churches don't have the resources to employ somebody as security. Now, you might be able to get somebody to become a volunteer security person. It's like, okay, well, I'm a
glorified usher.
A glorified usher, or I'm a firearms instructor, so I'm willing to carry in the church and be responsible if an armed response is necessary, that kind of thing. You might be able to get there, but a lot of churches are even smaller than that. Right. They don't have the bandwidth to deal with those kind of things. So you got to think long and hard about what could happen.
Right, exactly. And so this is something that needs to be in every church's plan. So think about your church right here in the St. Louis area.
Yeah,
whatever that is, if you go to church.
And it's not just a matter of protest either.
No.
Like, it could be some random homeless guy just ranting and raving.
Yeah. And so how will they respond, and how should they respond? Because I think we've gotten to the point where we have placated these people enough, these pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist, anti-Semitic. We have placated them enough now. They just assume that they can take over whatever they want. And until they start getting hammer locks on their shoulders, until they start accidentally falling nose first into the ground, until they understand that it's not tolerated and you will be physically removed whether you like it or not, you're going to see more and more and more of this. And the trust fund babies at the colleges who suddenly get active because, they have a cause now because they're on campus. Once they have to call mommy and daddy from jail to get bailed out, or once they have to call back and crying and saying, some guy hit me. What happened? Well, we were trying to make our voices heard, and we interrupted this church because they're not doing enough to stop and then you've got to explain that to mommy and daddy. Then you're going to start to see this being retarded in some way, where you're going to retard the stupidity.
Yes.
Of this.
Now, consequences change behavior.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really, I don't remember it very clearly, but I have a vague awareness of having thrown a fit once while with my mom out shopping or something like that.
Yeah.
We went home. And then when Dad got home, I had consequences.
Do you how much do you remember of that day?
I remember enough that there was never a problem being out with Mom after that.
Yeah.
So I had a discussion with Dad, I'm sure it was a discussion with 5-year-old me about about how to properly behave with my mother when she takes me out shopping. And I remember being the goodest boy I could whenever I was out with Mom after that. Consequences change behavior. And we need to deal out consequences to these overgrown babies who are throwing tantrums in public places.
Now, I'm not saying go vigilante on them, but I'm saying defend your space.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying churches, be ready. And jumping up there and saying get off doesn't work with these lunatics.
Oh, no.
You have to be ready to get physical.
Yes.
You have to.
Actually,
otherwise, this is going to get worse and worse and worse.
I suggest starting physical.
Yeah.
Honestly. I mean, it's like, okay, you're in a place you shouldn't be. Time to move. I'm going to move you now.
You have the time it takes me to get up there to move. I got to tell you how many times I've heard somebody start to tell a story like that, and then and I threw a fit and told my mom off, and I just don't remember much after that.
I don't remember much after that.
That's what I was double checking.
Yeah, exactly. My mind just is either disappeared or the concussion just erased it from my mind.
I remember what happened to me after that.
Yeah. I woke up staring at the ceiling, wondering what happened.
Oh my God!
It was me with my mom and my aunt. They wanted to go shopping downtown in Chicago. Drove down there, pulled up in front of Marshall Field, and I refused to get out of the car.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. I was maybe, 6 or 7 years old. I was very mature at that time.
Very mature, yeah.
And, boy, did I heard about it when I got home.
Oh, I bet.
It.
Oh, yeah.
I bet. All right, what's overrated here in St. Louis? I got a few suggestions already coming in here.
All right.
Let's talk about that at 8:51.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Have you just recently inherited...
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Dakota, I'm going to have to use a little hip-hop street lingo here to describe Vladimir Putin. This man is straight up off the chain. He has murdered his biggest critic, Navalny. What's the deal here?
Well, one, they're a clumsy people. It's amazing how many Russians fall off of balconies or get too far outside of windows or stumble into poison umbrellas. I mean, it's just horrific.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Staff Sergeant Mark Anthony Madrid.
Staff Sergeant Samantha Cowell.
I'm Staff Sergeant Alex
Staff
Stevens.
Sergeant William Lewis, and I am proud to defend my family and our nation.
The Air Force Reserve is part of the story of this great nation.
I'm grateful that I have a chance to wear the uniform of the heroes that went before me.
I am proud to be part of a team that helps make a difference in the world.
Every day, men and women from communities across this nation serve as reserve citizen airmen. Even as technology evolves and changes, our commitment to defend and protect this nation remains steadfast. We celebrate those who have served and those who are proudly serving. We celebrate our proud history and look towards an exciting and uniting future. Our mission is to fly, fight, and win in air, space, and cyberspace.
And I am proud to be a member.
And I'm proud to serve in the United
And
States.
I am proud to protect our country.
Proud to serve in the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Monday is April 1st, and this Monday, the Vic Porcelli Show has a new executive producer. So join the Vic Porcelli Show this Monday, April 1st, starting at 9:05.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
All right, what's overrated here in St. Louis? And here's what I mean by that. Is people come to visit. Your friends come to visit. Your family comes to visit. You're at the gas station. Somebody says, "Hey, we're just in town for a couple days to whatever. What should I go check out?"
Right. What should I do?
I heard about this.
What should I eat?
Yeah. And what's overrated? I'll tell you how I came to this. It's 8:52 right now. So there was a survey that was done by Study Finds, and they looked at the most overrated tourist attractions in America. So number 5, Lombard Street in San Francisco.
Okay.
I've never been there. I don't know.
have.
Is it overrated?
It's very unique, and you probably would only want to go there one time. But for me, it's also the name of my hometown outside Chicago, Lombard, Illinois. So there was that tie-in. But because it's the crookedest street in the world.
Yes.
Oh, because it's
very unique.
Winds back
weird.
and forth, and there's always a long line of cars waiting to go down because of all the tourists.
Yes.
But once you're on it, you realize you just waited in traffic to wait in more traffic.
It is very pretty, though, and you have a great view with a lot of flowers around you, but you're moving at a half a mile an hour.
That was when you went, though.
Yes.
This is San Francisco in 2024.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
It may be you have to wind down it to avoid the poop stack.
Not even their streets can be straight. Okay. Number 4.
Caught me off guard with that one. Where is it, Stell?
Where is it?
Where is it?
Oh, my goodness. Somebody stole it.
Oh, come on.
All right.
Come on.
All right. Number 4.
There it is.
Okay.
All right.
Number 4. All right. Times Square.
Times Square? Yeah.
Overrated?
I've been there. I think so. I think it is. It looks better in movies.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, in movies, you got the giant tracking shots, and it spins around. And
Yeah.
There's all kinds of things. Like, there's a very specific thing playing on the giant jumbotrons. So, no.
When I was there as a kid, it was cool. But I agree with you, Gabe. It's a lot different.
Yeah, so one of those. I think it's one of those you see it once. Okay,
it's
great,
like,
then.
oh, okay, I'm here.
Now this is interesting. Plymouth Rock was rated the 3rd most overrated tourist attraction. I've never been to Plymouth Rock.
It's literally just a rock.
Yeah, it's literally just a rock.
I have been. I wouldn't even. I'm surprised it's even on the list.
It's behind. It's even behind a protective case, so you can't even touch the rock.
Don't touch a rock. Yeah.
Number 2, and I completely agree with this. Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm. Oh, just Vegas as a
Las
town?
Vegas in general. Absolutely.
Overrated.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's still expensive.
It's expensive, and it's like once you've been there, it's like okay.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I guess if you're a hedonist, then that's your thing. But
I go for the shows, Mike. I go for the shows. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. And then Mount Rushmore was ranked number 1.
Okay, yeah.
As the most overrated. Okay, so what about St. Louis?
I have a very, very controversial one.
Okay, let's hear it.
Yeah. Okay. So,
I'm getting some in on social media here, by the way.
I think the Arch is overrated.
Oh, dude.
Okay, so
but you got to differentiate, I think, between going up in it, and just seeing it.
Yes. Now, let me clarify here. I think it's actually absolutely worthwhile to go visit the Arch grounds, to go and through their little tour thing about how it was constructed, getting the history of it, and doing all the things. Going up into the Arch, I think, is an overrated experience because you're cramped in this little. You feel like you're stuffed in a torpedo tube.
That's true.
As you go up very, very slowly, you get into the top of the little area, and you look out, and you're like, okay, this is the same view you'd get from any tall building in any city anywhere.
Totally agree.
I've been in the Empire State Building, so I've seen better views. So it's just like, okay, and then you have to go back down that stupid elevator, and it's
Goat Lady completely agrees with you.
There it
on
is.
Rumble.
Okay, all right.
Sears
I'm not
Tower
alone.
probably gives you as good of a view.
Yeah.
Anything that jumps out at you that's overrated in St. Louis?
I'll be honest with you. When we lived downtown for a while, in between houses, we had a lot of folks come up to us when we'd be walking down Market Street, and they'd say, "Hey, folks mentioned to visit City Garden. How cool is that? Or City Museum." It's a city garden. I mean, come on.
City garden.
No, not really. And city museum's cool if you have kids, but if you're just adults, it's just a husband and wife. No, you don't want to go
around this place. Watching other kids, other people's kids have fun.
And it's one of those things where kids turn into like the Tasmanian devil,
screaming banshees on fire.
That's what happens at City Museum. Oh my God! Oh yeah.
And they're in concert.
Ed says the wheel is overrated.
The wheel. What is that one?
At Union Station.
Union Station, where we used to work.
Oh, over there. Yeah,
that wheel.
That was walking distance.
Yeah, the wheel.
From,
yes, exactly. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Again, you're in a slow ride in a small box up to a height to see a view.
Yes.
I think there's something consistent with the underrated.
And what? You look over that beautiful St. Louis landscape? Is that what you're looking over?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Look at all this
That's what you're,
great architecture.
Well, there's some good architecture.
There is some good
I'm
architecture.
gonna defend St. Louis on that.
There's some good architecture. But I come up from a place where some of the things were built in like the 1600s. So
Right. Yeah. Okay. So I'm waiting because we've got less than 30 seconds before we hit the information segment. So I'm going to say my last one that I think is really overrated in St. Louis and then duck out like a complete and utter coward.
Okay.
Vic Porcelli coming your way here in about 6 minutes on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. By the way, one of the most overrated things in St. Louis that I tell people who visit don't even bother with, Emo's Pizza. I'm out.
Run!
Always be clear where you get your conservative talk.
The St. Louis Business Journal is now reporting that liberal billionaire George Soros is the largest shareholder of Odyssey,
the parent company of KMOX and 97.1 Talk.
Soros' maneuver raises critical questions about the future of media ownership and influence.
Money and attention is power. And when he has the money and he controls what's on the radio stations, he's going to be able to control the minds, potentially hundreds of millions of Americans.
St. Louis's trusted source